The evidence seems to indicate that you're watching Dolly Vision.
Fingerprints of the dead, cold stone. He's got the scoop, that's the route down known. Dolly Vision headlines, King of Peace. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on their light. Topping up, Dolly Vision's dreaming real. True crime scene blast, feel so unreal. You do madness like share, subscribe. Jack's on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby? Missing shadows crawl. People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King of Peace. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on their light.
What up, YouTube? It is Dolly back in the house again. How you doing, my beautiful people? Tonight we are talking, well, we're pretty much open discussion tonight. As you see, it says live call in open panel. I haven't did an open panel in quite some time. So tonight, if you want to come up and hang out with me, you're more than welcome to. I have the link to bring you in live pinned at the top of the chat. That's if you want to come in. You don't have to. But tonight, some of the things we're going to be talking about: Sebastian Rogers, Karen Reed, tell her Schabusiness. That lady is crazy. All right, and some other things in true crime. But first, of course, if you're just tuning in, leave your DNA all over that like button, just in case a crazy woman chops you up and does really bad things to you. I have your DNA on file. If you're brand new, if it's your first time here and you haven't, or if you've been here 1,000 times and you ain't subbed up the channel yet, sub up the channel. Ring the bell for notifications. And of course, feel free to share my ugly ass face on any social media platform you choose, as long as it's not Pornhub. Okay, they don't need nobody as ugly as me up there. They don't need it. Okay, I'm like the Freddy Krueger of YouTube, giving nightmares worldwide. All right, so just a little update on everything that's been going on. I got somebody in the backstage already. Hold on, guys. Don't come up yet. Don't come up yet. Let me finish my intro and get into the show first. Please let me get into the show before you come jump into the link. I post it so y'all can come back, but just give it a few minutes. Give me 5 minutes before y'all start hitting that link, or maybe give me 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes to get through my intro of the show, because I got some things to announce today, because a lot of people have been asking, because, you know, we've been sold out of a lot of stuff at our merch store. There hasn't been too many soaps, lotions, body washes, anything up in there. Today, I restocked the store. I've been working on new soaps, lotions, body washes, and we got a new line of tumblers out. Okay, let me share the screen with you guys, because I want to show you guys what these look like. And there's a limited supply, right? So you got to get them while you can, while they last. Let me show you this first one here. Add to the screen. All right. You see it says Dolly Vision, and it says, if at first you don't succeed, it's only attempted murder. So there's 3 of them here, so you can see all sides of what it looks like. And that is the one we call attempted murder, right? Has the skulls, the flowers, the Dolly Vision in pink. All right. That's the first one. We got 4 of them that I made. That's the first one. The second one, of course, we sold a few of these the other night on Turtle Island. This is the Dolly Vision True Crime Junkie one. All right. And as you can see, it says Dolly Vision around the top. It has the girl with the looking glass, true crime book, skeleton girl. I call it the skeleton girl one. Right. All right. There's that one. There's the True Crime Addict one with Dolly Vision in red. Blood Explosion with the crime scene tape. All right. There's that one. And there is also the skeleton that says, I'm just here to establish my alibi. Okay. Of course, it says Dolly Vision in white. It has the police tape, the skull, and the blue rose. Okay. So we only have a limited supply of these. Get them while you can. They're going to go fast, right? Because the store's been selling out of everything pretty quick. So make sure you check out the new tumblers, the new soaps. We restocked lotion. We restocked soap. We also added a couple new t-shirts to the merch store. All right. I just wanted to get that self-plug out the way. And we got Rose in the back. Hold on. Let's add Rose. See what Rose is talking about today. Hello, Rose. Rose, you got to turn me down in the background.
Oh, sorry, love. I turned you down.
Okay, Rose, did you not hear the part that I said give me about 5 or 10 minutes so I could get into the show?
Well, honey, I move pretty quick. You know, I'm like,
I see. You move pretty quick.
no need to carry it on and on.
Okay, what did you want to address, Rose? Because we ain't got into the stories yet.
I'm sorry. I'll call back.
Okay.
I mean,
all right, Rose.
Should I stay on this link? Will it keep me up or what?
Yeah, you can stay right here. I'm just going to pull you down for a minute.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right, peace. All right, that's Rose. She's a little quick to get us. She's like a ninja, right? Like a ninja. She was ready, right? Rose says she was born ready. But I want to get into a little bit of the stories before we bring people up here. So that way we have something to discuss, right? So this teller's a businesswoman. She's the one that murdered this dude. And then had sexual relations with him. Okay. Basically chopped off his head. And it was terrible. And she's been known for attacking people in the courtroom. And, well, basically, she's done it again. Okay. She's done it again. This woman is notorious for trying to attack her own lawyer. Now, she's already doing life in prison. She already has a life sentence in prison, but she's being charged with like assaulting guards and things like this. The woman is nuts. She really instead of being in prison, she really probably needs to be in a sane asylum. All right. Let me share this screen with you guys real quick. Let's bring it up here. All right, let's blow it up. And you got to see this. Make sure it turns up. Right now, I got no audio. I don't know why. Maybe there's none on the video. All right, there we go. Look at the smirk on her face. Yeah, she is a big time whack job for sure. I wonder what's going on in her mind. Because right now she looks pretty calm, but she can go from completely calm to like 180 miles an hour in like a split second.
Yes.
5150. She looks evil. Well, you know you got to be crazy to chop somebody up. So this was her in court today. And, you know, the last time she had actually attacked the lawyer, she got a good shot in. And she was handcuffed when she did it. But this lady is just notorious with just going crazy in the courtroom. I don't understand why they even bring her into the courtroom. If they know she's going to attack people, why keep bringing her into court? Well, if you had to say you think she has demons in her, she chopped him up and enjoyed it. Yes, yes. A lot of people believe she's satanic, and I just think she's crazy. I mean, to commit a crime like that, I don't know why she's not in a psych facility. You know, she got life in prison, so she's serving her life, but she's been charged with assaulting a deputy. Right. So, you know, they keep bringing her back to court for these charges she's catching in the facilities, and she's crazy. I mean, there's no doubt. Look, some people fake crazy. You know, they try to get out of trouble. They fake being crazy. This woman is absolutely not faking. Okay. Yeah, she beheaded him with a dull bread knife. Yeah, I know. I think she says WrestleMania. Okay. She says something when she goes to attack him. I swear it's fucking Hulkamania. I don't know what she says. I swear it's something like that though. Razzle dazzle, right? I don't know. Abracadabra. She says something. Pay attention when she attacks this dude. Or tries to. She was in a meth psychosis. Well, she's crazy in the head all the time. Look at her looking at her lawyer. She's like, yeah, I'd eat your brains.
All right. The court will call 24 CF 1048 State of Wisconsin versus Taylor Schabusiness appearances.
Gordon Leach for the state.
Tell her some business.
Taylor Schabusiness is personally present. She is in custody with Attorney Curtis Jelka.
All right. This matter is set for a preliminary hearing today. Mr. Jelka, what's the status?
Your Honor, my understanding is we are proceeding.
All right. Mr. Leach.
Your Honor, I'm just checking in on the status of my officer. I expected.
This is tell her some business.
But I'm also having connectivity problems here. I might need to run upstairs and see if she may be upstairs. If I can have a moment.
Sure.
And Judge, it sounds like just one witness. We're asking for sequestration, but that may be a moot point.
All right.
It is one witness, Your Honor.
We're off the record.
Look at that. The lawyer, he didn't even flinch, right? The lawyer didn't even flinch. I'm telling you, it sounds like she screamed WrestleMania, okay? I don't know what WrestleMania we're on. Razzle Cadazzle. She screamed something. Hold on. Let's see what it is. And the lawyer didn't even blink. Razzle Dazzle Dolly. I don't know. I thought it was WrestleMania.
All right.
It is one witness, Your Honor.
Anybody know? Anybody know what she screamed? Oh my God. All right, she's nutty, right? That shit right there is crazy. It looked like her head hit that chair too. Let's watch it again. I could just loop this all night long. This is the whole show right here.
If I can have a moment.
Sure.
Thank you.
And Judge, it sounds like just one witness. We're asking for sequestration, but that may be a moot point.
All right.
It is one witness, Your Honor.
All right.
Oh my God. Right? Who makes them that crazy right there? Okay. Court cops ain't playing. They were waiting. They knew she was going to act crazy. Look how many deputies were in the courtroom. They had 5 because this ain't the first time she's, we need a razzle dazzle emoji. Is that what she says? It's something like that. It's either WrestleMania or razzle dazzle. Bedazzled. She was trying to bedazzle the lawyer. 100% WrestleMania, right? I thought it was WrestleMania too. I was like, what the hell is going on here, right? This is just too good.
Moot point.
All right.
It is one witness, Your Honor.
Oh, she hit that chair. She for sure hit that chair. Razzle dazzle. She razzle dazzled her head off that chair. That's one of them old hard wooden ass chairs too, right? Because you see when she goes down, the chair moves. Watch. Let's back this up.
We're off the record.
I mean, she was already handcuffed. Okay. So right there, good old razzle dazzle. Every now and then, you know, that happens. You gotta slam a crazy chick on her head in the courtroom, right? So I don't understand why at this point they're not bringing her in on video, you know, and having her handcuffed to a table or something while she's in court. All right, Rose is in the back. Let's see what Rose is doing real quick. You got to turn me down, Rose.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's going on? Can we get a good razzle dazzle from you, Rose?
Well, that's what I smoked tonight.
Some razzle dazzle.
Well, have you ever poked smut? I mean, I know you have. Poked smut, smoke pot.
Okay.
It's Friday night, Jimmy. And my favorite.
Are you sipping and tipping, Rose?
I am.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I guess.
What the fuck kind of answer is that?
Okay, watch the language now, Rose.
I am sorry.
We try to keep it clean around here. We try to keep it clean.
Unless you say it, then it's okay, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh, Jimmy, man, I have so many things to say. It's
I
like
bet you do.
I've been staying off the YouTube streets because I just can't stand it.
Okay.
I can't stand the squalor, the shit between different YouTube creators. Okay. I want in my heart to hold you higher than them. You understand me?
Yeah, I got you, Rose. I got you.
And when your shows are like that, as much as I love you, I just don't watch it, man. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Now,
What are you talking about? What are you referring to, Rose?
well, you know, the other night you had the BHB and all the shit that was going. It's like, you know what? Who cares? Why give that negativity any attention whatsoever? Give attention to Sebastian. Who cares about the, you know, and all the people that just have created so much drama. And I'm proud of you for saying that name, Sebastian Rogers, all the time. I mean, I think really you're the only one that really has kept it alive. And let's keep it alive in the light, not
in the light, Rose.
Not in the YouTube streets. You know, when you mention these names, they get a plug. It's like some person who's a drama ambulance chaser, they're going to go watch them just to see that, you know, I'm not like that, Jimmy. And if you don't want me to be a part of your crew because of that, then just cut me off, man.
All right, bye, Rose. That's my evil laugh right there. That's my. She said, "Just hey, you said it. You said it, Rose. You the one that I think. No, I know why I don't do open panels anymore. Right? Damn. Okay, so listen, Rose. I run my channel the way I want to run my channel. If there's things that I need to address, I address those things. If it's something you don't want to watch, of course, don't watch it. I don't twist your arm. I didn't twist your arm tonight when you grabbed that 12 pack of Bud Light. Now, did I? Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. I forgot it's Friday. Did I pick Friday night to try to do an open panel? Razzle dazzle. Okay. She just tried to razzle dazzle me. Okay. Did she just try to razzle dazzle me? I feel like she just tried to tell her some business. I think she tried to get me. It was like WrestleMania. Okay. I think if Rose could have attacked me right there, she possibly would have carved me up with a bread knife. Okay, with a bread knife. Talk about Minecraft. What did that say, Tiffany? Hold on. Talk about Minecraft movie, Jimmy. Okay, Minecraft movie. All right, that's a little off topic from true crime. Okay, but me and Tiff did go see the new Minecraft movie. All right, I learned who Steve was. I learned about the overworld. I learned about Technoblade. I learned about what else did I learn about? It had Jack Black in it, so it was a decent movie. It's basically a kids movie. It had Aquaman in it. Okay, it had Aquaman in it, and it wasn't terribly bad. Okay, considering I don't know shit about Minecraft. But Sebastian Rogers was a big Minecraft fan. Okay, young boys went missing out in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Matter of fact, they believe he may have been wearing a Minecraft shirt when he disappeared that night. So now I know a little bit more about Minecraft, what it's about and how the game is played. And, as I'm sitting there watching the movie, Tiff was giving me a breakdown of how to play the game. Now I almost want to go play it. I'm just kidding. It ain't my thing. It seems a little kiddish, right? It seems like a cool game for little kids. They get this world, their own little world, and they go in there and they build with like blocks and little houses and little forts and things like that. And so it was decent. It was decent. So, and the best part of it is I got to go spend time with my little girl, and she likes it. So if she liked it, I can at least tolerate it. So that's the way I look at it. So that's basically it. So if you ain't seen it, you got grandkids that want to go see it. There, there's a little bit of adult humor in it, but for the most part, it's a kids movie. Okay, was that a good breakdown of it, Tiff? All right. I think it's better than some of the crazy games. Your nephew loves Minecraft. Yes. Okay. I agree. Time well spent. Yeah. And Tiff bought her this big pink sheep. It's like a square sheep. It's bright pink. And it's in the movie. This damn pink sheep. Okay. Rose keeps jumping in. Rose, what I'm going to do is open up the phone lines for you later. Okay. I'll open up the phone lines later. You seem like you're a little bit buzzed up on a Friday night, and I don't know if I have the patience. A lot of people tell me, Dolly, you got the patience of a saint. Not always. Not always. Some days I can deal with it. It's a pig, Dolly. LOL. No, there's a sheep too. Right? I don't know if it's it's a sheep. It's a big pink sheep. There's pigs in it too, but this is a pink sheep. And they had it as a popcorn bucket. So Tiff got it. There's a picture of me on Facebook holding the pink sheep. So I know it's a sheep or llama. No, it's a sheep. It's a sheep. So anyway, We seen Tell Us a Business act nutty, get in there, it's a big pink sheep. Yep, I knew I was right, Tiff. See, it's a big pink sheep. No patience for Dollar Drunk Yellow. I don't know if she's buzzed up or not. I'm just kidding. I was just picking on Rose. I was just picking a little bit. But I want to discuss, this whole Karen Reed thing too. All right. Because I've seen some things today that was a little like, oh my God. Like, we know the cult is pro Karen Reed. And there's some people on Karen Reed's side, and then there's some people that have some common sense. I'm just playing if you're a Karen Reed supporter, right? But, when I was up there in Massachusetts, y'all remember the guy, Tom CPU, that came up and tried to give me some candy, and he was just being weird. And it's the same guy that kicked JLR. Do y'all remember that? That guy, Tom? So anyway, today he said some terrible, horrible things. So there's a YouTube creator up here that's battling cancer, and he goes by Yellow Cottage Tales or something like that. I think that's it. And he has like terminal cancer. So it's bad. The dude, anybody that it's not a good situation. And, Tom was attacking him, and he said, you need to go back to your terminal cancer. Because, they're upset about this buffer zone in the Karen Reed case. Okay. They believe it violates their constitutional rights to protest. He kicked JR. He kicked him. Yeah, he meal kicked him. And while JR was walking by, he kicked him. So I'm surprised JR didn't turn around and whip that ass. Okay. To be honest with you. Because, I can tell you now, anybody had done something to me like that. Yes, he has cancer. So he's battling cancer. And Tom said that the most
Praying gesture emoji. PJ feels better.
Thank you, Joe. You're the first one to jump on a dolly train tonight. All right. That's awesome of you. Thank you, Joe. So yeah, he said some pretty horrible things, right? Go back to covering your cancer and just terrible, right? Because if you ain't pro Karen Reed, it's pretty much F you, right? And what they're trying to sue the judge because of this buffer zone. And that they can't get close to the courthouse wearing their pink to support Karen Reed. The judge has done pushed him a couple blocks down the road. So if they're out there making a uproar, they get a citation, right? A warning. And then if they do it again, they get arrested. So they're not playing that. They're trying to keep the jury selection fair, right? Fair. They don't want people going in there thinking the whole town supports Karen Reed when really it's not the town that supports Karen Reed. These people are coming from all over, right? And they're a little bit brainwashed, guys. Listen, if you support Karen Reed, I don't have a problem with you. But some of these people out here are a little brainwashed, especially the main culprits. I ain't talking about everybody, but these main people that are involved are completely brainwashed. And some of these YouTube creators are doing it no more but for the clicks and views, because the popular thing right now, I guess, is to support Karen Reed. But all signs and all roads try to point to that. And speaking of which, Baby Gap, he was in Vinny's chat room and he tried to say something about, it's against their constitutional rights and Bev don't have the right to do it. And the guy that's on Vinny's show with him actually basically told Baby Gap that he was a fool. That, you can, but you can't do it while the court's happening. Okay? You can't disrupt the court. You can protest all you want. You just can't do it during the hours of that court operating. So if you want to go up there when Karen Reed ain't in there and get on the stairs of the courthouse, you can. But you're not going to make it where it sways the jury selection. And then already people in these forums are posting that Turtle Boy, they're trying to get Karen Reed supporters on the jury. right? So they're already he's telling like Alan Jackson who Karen Reed supporters are if he believes one's in the jury pool. So that they get supporters of Karen Reed onto the jury. Right. And the crazy thing about this, in this is the fact that Karen Reed says she's not paying her attorneys, but she's raised millions of dollars. Okay. But says she's not paying her attorneys at all. Where's her supporters' money going? Right? If she's not paying her attorneys, she says her attorneys are pro bono. The new lawyer, the lady that was on her last jury, she's pro bono. Alan Jackson's Unetti, all of these people are representing her for absolutely free, according to her. All right. Which I don't believe. Because one, she had a lien put on her house from both of her attorneys for $500,000 apiece. Okay. So basically, she's paying her attorneys, but yet gets out in the media and absolutely lies, saying she's not paying these attorneys. This is the same lady we've never seen shed one tear for John O'Keefe, right? Not one, which is absolutely crazy to me how you can, at least fake it. Like, this lady can't even fake like she's sad because that she's not, right?
The views and opinions.
I didn't know PJ sent me this. I was looking, okay. I want to go over this right here real fast. This is Vinny's show from earlier on them trying to sue the judge in the Karen Reed case. Okay. Let me start this.
Wow. It's going to happen. The retrial of the century is going to happen. Jury selection continuing, moving, I think, quicker than folks.
I don't think this is a retrial of the century, though, Vinny. That's a little. I don't think that many people care really like talking about it. I mean, there's a handful of the Massachusetts people that care. There, but it's not as big as like the retrial of the century. All right, that shit's insane.
Thought it would move. They're going to get a jury. And at the end of the day, this trial will happen. But what we're talking about today, and we'll get into a whole bunch of things relative to the retrial of the century of Karen Reed, but there's something else that happened. The judge is being sued. The judge is being sued for prior restraint of speech in the limitations she has set on people who want to show up at the courthouse and exercise one of the amendments, which, that's right, the First Amendment, their First Amendment rights. She has shut them down to a certain extent, pushed them even further away from the courthouse, including private property, property that is public property that people gather on. So we're going to talk about that and ask the question, has Judge Cannoni crossed the line?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Listen, everybody deserves a fair trial, right? There needs to be justice. And if you're out there and you're making it look like the whole town's corrupt, right? And you're on the stairs of the courthouse kicking people and acting a fool out there and screaming and disrupting the court, they can't have that. They're not saying they can't protest. They just can't protest in front of the court. They can take their ass down the street and they're disturbing people. Like there's a church. They were all gathered in front of this church.
She said razzle dolly, none your Schabusiness.
None of your business. She said razzle dazzle dolly, none of your business. I think she said WrestleMania, right? I think she's trying to get in on WrestleMania. But this whole thing about this buffer zone and them trying to sue the judge and, dumbass people like Baby Gap actually left a super chat. And the guy up top, Albert H, right? I got mad respect for Albert H now. I didn't know who you were before, but now I'm an Albert H fan. He can.
Let's hit the like and share or your DNA.
There you go, Peggy. Thank you. You the third one on the train. Y'all make sure y'all get a nice seat, okay? We do have a goal set if we get to it. I'm doing a giveaway tonight. That's only if we hit the goal, though. So if we hit the goal, I'm giving something cool away tonight. So thank you for your super chats. You guys are awesome. Albert H up here, right? Albert, you got a new fan. You got a new fan out here. Dolly, right? So he basically, he's like, I'm tired of hearing these basically stupid ass people keep saying how their rights are being violated. You have the right to, protest, but there's a buffer zone. Get your ass on the other side of that buffer zone and protest all you want. And they don't like to hear that because it's basically like they're not there. You know what I'm saying? They can't even see the courthouse. They can't even see the shit. They're like, all right, we're way over here. So it's like, and what is that going to do? If you got to be way down the road and you ain't there running in with Karen Reed on the cameras, then that takes away from them. We love you, Karen. We love you. So
I'm Vinny Politan, lead anchor for CourtTV. It says so right below me, so I know it's true. You can watch me every night from 8 to 10 on CourtTV. But with me here on the Tangent Podcast is Al Wunsch III. He's over here. Al.
Viva la Tangentistas, everyone, and greetings.
And in the bottom row, there he is, the radio legend, Jonesy. And you know the deal. It's Friday, Jonesy. What does that mean?
Yeah, I'll take Jonesy to take the square.
Beautiful. This is the Tangent Podcast.
Oh Lord, let's get past that. I don't.
Have you aboard today? It's all about the retrial of the century getting started. It's happening already. Jury selection is part of the trial, but I consider the true beginning of the case, for my purposes, those opening statements. But for the lawyers, this is perhaps the most important part.
Absolutely.
Picking the people who are going to sit in judgment.
Absolutely.
Who are these people?
And that's the question I always ask on a jury thing, is like, who are these people? And it really is key to your trial strategy on who you get into the box.
You won't wear pink anymore?
How you use your preemptive challenges, which means you can just challenge without having to give a cause or a reason, and also why you have.
Well, Dolly has the best intro on YouTube, right? Vinny's, I think his taste in music's just a little bit different than mine, right? And I agree with Vinny on a lot of things. I think he more leans towards Karen Reed's innocent, right? He kind of seems more on that team. I don't know if they slipped him some Kool-Aid or what, but for the most part, usually I agree with Vinny. But on this one, I don't quite agree. I think Karen Reed is guilty. I think she will be convicted, and I don't think it's going to be as hard to convict her as a lot of people have made it out to be.
Challenges for cause, which means that they said something that kind of left a bad taste in your mouth, and you can get them off that way. So this is the straw that stirs the drink. If you don't have the right jury in there, it doesn't matter what your opening is.
Now, I was looking at some of the stats. About half of the jurors, it seems, are reporting to have an opinion on the case. About half from the jury pool, but they're moving quickly. I mean, as of yesterday, they had 10 already.
Yeah, 10 and they're going to be looking to do 16.
Right.
Okay,
last time the judge brought in 19, qualified 19, then somehow they eliminated 3 of them. I don't recall exactly how they did that, and they ended up with 16. 12 who will sit and 4 as alternates. Last time, I believe they used 2 of the alternates. You need the alternates because people get sick. High-profile case. It's in the news all the time. Someone could hear something or see something that might not, might not make it possible for them to continue on the jury. But I love the jury selection process. I think it's the way we do it in the United States is the best way. You get people from the community sitting in judgment. And speaking of the people in the community, those who often wear the color pink, are not happy right now. The judge has expanded what they're calling the buffer zone, and they've put up like signs, like actual street signs saying buffer zone. And the thought is that we need to move people away from the courthouse so we don't taint the jury, right?
Yep.
Now, here's the region has apparently been expanded to a certain extent, because there's a certain spot where they were all gathering last time, and they've pushed.
Yeah, the link is posted for the open panel. You do have to show yourself real quickly, so I know you're not a troll, or I'll have to put a screen up so nobody can see you, just to make sure you're not going to porn bomb me or nothing like that. But the link to come in is open and discuss any of the things that we're watching here tonight.
Them further out. One of the jurors, I think, reported being able to hear people outside.
Right.
Okay, that's fine and good, but they didn't send her home. Like it had no influence. I interviewed one of the jurors. I said, he said none of that had any influence on anything.
Okay.
But none of it did. Let me give you an example, Al. I work at CourtTV. Your front row seat.
It's a big case now. Yeah, it's big, but it ain't like the trial of the century. It's not going to be bigger than Brian Kohlberger. It's not going to be more people are not watching the Karen Reed trial than, I'm more interested in the Lori Vallow stuff myself, So, I mean, I don't think Karen Reed's that big of a deal. I think what it is she's paid certain people to hype it up and get their supporters out there. Like, she's paid Turtle Boy. She's paid these other people, and, she's buying her support. That's what, and I don't get it, but I don't get what people see in Karen Reed. She's unrelatable. I don't see why so many people are supporting her. It ain't like she's a soccer mom or a good person. Lori Vallow is much more interesting. I agree, Cricket.
To justice. The only thing we do, Jonesy, Jonesy, the only thing we do is cover the highest profile cases in the nation. Okay. I was down in Orlando. There was a woman on trial there. She was not a woman that I like. She was public enemy number one, the most hated woman in America.
Razzlemania. Says Ed. Razzlemania.
There were people chanting with signs right there outside of the courthouse that entire trial, and trust me, none of them were supporting that woman whose name starts with a C.
Oh, okay? It wasn't Roseanne Barr?
It was not Roseanne Barr. It was a woman who was charged with taking the life of her own daughter, Kaylee Marie Anthony. Despite what was happening outside the courthouse, which was an overwhelming, it was like,
all right, I see you, Jess. All right, let me throw up a picture real quick. What's up, Jeff? You got to turn me down in the background.
Despite what was happening outside, which was an overwhelming. It was
hey,
like,
Jess. All right, I see you, Jess. You got to turn me down in the background. All right, let me throw up a picture. You can go back to your thumbnail. What's up, Jeff? You got to turn me down in the background. Can you hear me? Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on, Jess? Can you hear me? Are you having difficulties there?
I cannot hear you, but Dolly.
Oh, I don't know why you can't hear me. You should be able to hear me perfectly fine. I can hear you. All right, try going out and coming back in. She can't hear me. Rose could hear me. I don't know why she can't hear.
Yeah, but Dolly.
All right, Jess, when you figure it, you might need to go out and come back in. Okay, there you go.
Pitchfork time, okay? That's what you had there throughout the entire 3 months that I was there. And it did not, in one iota, impact the jury.
So you
Well,
know,
as you would say,
you know it. And
as you would
here's the
say,
other.
Vinny, never mind. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. You go, Jonesy.
No. I
No. You go. No, yeah. Jonesy's up.
Well, I was simply going to say, as you had said in the past, well, that's Florida.
Well, my point.
And he's talking Casey Anthony. And people were out there screaming. Yeah, but they wasn't out there like doing what they're doing, right? So
Point is, okay, let's go to California. O.J. Simpson. There were, throngs of people there, chanting, signs, everything. The jury bases it on.
Hey, Jess, can you hear me now? Jess, can you hear me now? Okay, Jess keeps coming in, but I guess she can't hear me for some reason. Jess, I seen her when she came in the backstage. I added her to the stage, but for some reason I can't hear her.
Did I fix it?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jess? She's having problems on her end because we hear you up here perfectly fine. You just can't hear me, which I don't know why that would be. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Mute YouTube, Jess, not StreamYard. Can you hear me? All right. This is going to be difficult if she can't hear me.
I got it.
You got it? You can hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Awesome, Jess. What's going on?
No, not much. I can't sleep tonight. Trying to smoke, so I can't sleep.
Oh,
and
well, okay.
I finally got to watch you live. Other than
Cool.
Turtle Island. And hey, let's chit chat about this Karen Reed.
Karen Reed, they're trying to sue the judge because they don't like the buffer zone. You know, they're pushing them too far away from the court so they can't shine in their pink.
Well, I love pink and all, but I'm on, like I said earlier, I'm on the fence. I want her to be innocent in a way, but just don't know.
Hold on 1 second, Jess.
Okay.
Hey guys, hold on for 1 minute. Okay.
Yep.
What happens in the courtroom? It
Reed
does
juror
not
said while
prejudice
deliberating heard
anyone.
protests.
Jurors take their job seriously. I know. I was a juror.
Okay. There is no problem putting a buffer zone. They do it all the time. It works. It's allowed. Okay. We see buffer zones around abortion clinics. We see buffer zones around other things, and they've all passed constitutional muster as long as there is a legitimate reason for it. And if a juror did hear something that was going on and there was noise that was going on, do you really want that when they're sitting in there and they are going over the evidence and they're debating and they're doing this? Do you want people right up their nose when they're walking into the courthouse? No. Okay. There is no reason why they can't put a buffer zone. And that is not in any way curtailing free speech by any stretch of the imagination. You're there. You can say what you want. You can do what you want. Okay. But, free speech is not,
Do the jurors have X-ray vision?
Well, I don't know if that's a question. I asked that question in voir dire, but I don't know if they asked it in this one.
Jonesy, are you wearing those X-ray specs that they used to advertise in the back of the wrestling magazines?
No, I wish I had sent away for those to see if they actually worked.
I did.
You
They
can, see
didn't
through,
work.
you can see through your hand. You can see the bones, and you can see through people's clothing and stuff.
Yeah,
from what I
that didn't work.
It
Believe me.
didn't work. You actually got him, Al?
Yeah, I
You
did.
actually-
I did, and I brought it to class. And
Wow.
Julie
Show and tell.
Pietro still had clothes on when I was
You,
looking at.
you couldn't see through the clothes of Sister Mary Elephant?
I didn't go to Catholic school for grammar school, so I only had that for for.
Here's my point, Al. Least restrictive, right? When you start restricting the constitutional rights of citizens, you need to do so in the least restrictive possible way.
Absolutely.
Okay? Well, if someone is wearing or holding a sign, how is the jury going to see that from inside the courtroom?
Because they're not holding a sign. They're not only doing that, they're screaming and yelling and chanting.
Oh, yeah, but they can't do either. Is that really the least restrictive way to take away a constitutional right?
It is. And it's not, and look, there's no, they're allowed to organize. They're allowed to be there. They're allowed to put up
You're
their
restricting people from exercising their constitutional
Right.
rights on private property.
Okay, you can't yell
On
fire
private
in a crowded-
property.
You can't yell fire in a in a crowded movie theater, right?
What's the safety
Is that
concern?
free
No safety
speech?
concern?
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
I'm still here.
Okay, so what's going on with you tonight? What do you think about this whole Karen Reed stuff, Jess?
Like, I'm on the fence because I really, in the beginning, thought she was innocent, and I wanted to believe she was innocent. But I don't know if it's her pink posse that's got me irritated with the whole situation.
Yeah.
Makes me want her to be guilty. I don't know. I'm just on the fence. I think about this situation like the dog bites or the dog marks, like make that make sense. That's what I want that to make sense.
Yeah, like when in the beginning, I didn't think they had enough evidence to convict her. Because the Google searches and they didn't really have any proof that did she do it on purpose or was it an accident? I didn't really think it was second-degree murder, but then as I thought about it, I was like, well, if she was drinking and did it, it's definitely second-degree murder.
Well, I mean, she really could have done it on accident.
Yeah, but it would still be, there's no such thing as an accident when you're drinking and driving. Like if you was drinking and driving and you crashed into somebody, is that an accident? You shouldn't have been behind the wheel drinking and driving. You was already committing a crime when you did it.
But isn't that manslaughter?
No, if you were sober, it would be manslaughter.
Okay.
Because then it's an accident. But if you did it drinking, there's no such thing as an accident when you're drinking.
Yeah. Still.
So
I'm still on the fence. It's just, did she hit his car?
yeah, she hit his car, but I think she did that purposely. When she was backing out, she needed to build a reason that taillight was broke. So she said she slowly bumped it thinking, okay, well, I'll say I broke it here, but she knew that
No.
that taillight was broke, and I think that's why she did it. It was a cover up. That's why she called her dad in the middle of the night, and her dad was like, all right, you better do something. And then she tried to hide the vehicle, and
Did I miss that?
the taillight pieces were in his clothing. So, and they're going to do a reenactment that shows that the way she bumped the car couldn't have broke the taillight.
Yeah, I've seen where they have done documentaries on the reenactment parts.
Yeah.
But
so now in the first trial, I didn't think they had enough to get her, but now I do think they got enough to get her because they've thrown out the dog bite stuff. They completely destroyed that conspiracy that Turtle Boy was pushing in the beginning. So I think, and the odds are 85% of people that are retried or convicted. So most likely she's going to be convicted. The odds are, are more in favor of her being convicted than not being convicted.
Right, right. No, I completely agree with you on that, but I'm still just on the fence. I mean,
Uh,
she did it. Whether she did it on
Now,
maliciously or not meaning to.
yeah, well, what do you think about them in this buffer zone? Do you think it's violates their constitutional rights to push them 2 blocks back?
Well, do the rest of them are the rest of them on the other side allowed to be out there?
No, they're pushed back too. You can't be out there
Oh,
doing any type of protesting. You have to abide by the buffer zone. No
yeah,
matter if you're on John O'Keefe's side or Karen Reed's side, it's for everybody.
yeah. I think the judge is wrong. I think they should all be able to.
So if you go inside that buffer zone and you start screaming free Karen Reed or holding signs, then you violate the order of the buffer zone. So I mean, you can walk through
Well,
there.
I wouldn't walk through there saying free Karen Reed, but I mean, there's a whole other side too who wants justice for John O'Keefe.
Yeah, I mean, and Cricket Day says this. She said, "Did they get a permit to protest?" Yeah, I mean, you got to, gathering without a permit. It depends what I think that's state to state. Like
Yeah,
here in Virginia, if you got that many people together, you would have to have a permit.
we
But I
have
don't.
to have them here in Ohio.
Yeah, I think that's state by state. Like Georgia's not like that. You can gather without a permit in Georgia. But certain states have certain rules about the number of people. Like in Virginia, it's 90 people. You can gather up to 90 people. But if you have 91, you need a permit.
I'm not sure on our certain laws here in town, but I know that we've got some issues in our town right now going on with
I only know
our
that
labor.
I only know that law in Virginia because way back in the day when I was in a band, we were having a party at this building and I invited a ton of people and there was probably 300 people there and the fire marshal shut it down. And he gave me a ticket for gathering without a permit.
Huh.
And when I went to court, the judge didn't know the law. He had to actually tell the fire marshal to bring him the law from the library of how many people it is gathering, right? And so when he came back, the law was 90 people. You can gather up to 90 people. Because I told the judge, I said, well, what's the difference between me having a party at my house and having a party at a business I own? It's the same thing, right? It's the same exact thing. If I could, do I have to have a permit to invite people to my house? Then why do I have to have a permit to invite people to my business?
Yeah, as long as you're in capacity, you should be fine.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not like I'm running a bar. You know what I'm saying? If it was a bar, then there would be a limit of the people that safely can be in there. But if you're not selling anything and it's a private business, but they ended up dropping the charge on me, right? And the judge was just like, don't gather that many people again without a permit. And I was like, all right, but it's 90 people in Virginia.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
all right, well, let's jump back into this. And if you want to touch in on anything, feel free to.
Okay. I'm listening.
Is that free speech? Is that free speech?
There's no safety concern here, Al.
But there is a safety concern. There's also a concern that the person's going to get a fair trial.
All
Okay.
right.
And
How
there's
about
also
the people who actually sued Judge Cannoni, who have been doing nothing but protesting Judge Cannoni?
And that's that. This is part of the problem. This is part of the problem. Okay. Now all of this stuff going on, and of course now the Reeds are Reed defense is going to the Supreme Court of the United States with a
double jeopardy,
trying to get cert granted on that, which I don't think is going to happen. But nonetheless, all right. And guess what? So the scrutiny is there. They're going to take a look at it, and if a federal judge says it's okay, then it's okay.
You skipped over a big point here. A big point of the people who are actually suing Judge Cannoni is that they are protesting since November of 2024, Judge Cannoni. They are protesting Judge Cannoni. So can Judge Cannoni issue an order to keep them away from the courthouse, to keep them from protesting her?
But it's also
they're not protesting. Listen, Vinny, I don't know if Vinny's been out. I think Vinny did go out there. Vinny, you know good and well they're not protesting the judge out there. I've been out there. I think you've been out there too. You know good and well they're not protesting the judge out there. These are free Karen Reed idiots out there. So to be like they're protesting the judge, I ain't hear one person scream nothing about the judge the whole time I was out there. And I've been there a few different times, and they ain't nothing but screaming and booing Karen Reed, John O'Keefe's mama. Right? So I don't know where he's getting this from.
So it is also it is.
I'm about to Razzlemania his ass. Okay, WrestleMania. We about to lock you in a room with tell her some business there, Vinny.
Making it difficult for people.
He was there for 6 weeks. He knows they weren't protesting that judge then. He knows good and well. But look, the Karen Reed supporters, I think he likes them people out there. They were all big fans of Vinny. Of course, a lot of people are fans of Vinny, but they're not the fans you need, Vinny. They're not the fans you need.
People to concentrate and things along those lines. It's fine. Okay. They're protesting Judge Cannoni.
You're too quick to take away my constitutional rights.
No, I'm not.
Al,
No. Wait a minute.
He's going to take away your rights, Jones.
Wait a minute.
Those glasses.
Okay, so are you allowed to stand in front of a abortion clinic and protest people who go into an abortion clinic in New Jersey? Because I can't say that about every state now because of what's going on. But in New Jersey, am I able to stand there and get in your face and tell you don't get the abortion? No,
you get in somebody's face.
I'm not allowed to do that. They've set up buffer zones for it, and those.
Yes, Vinny, get in people's face. Didn't you see them people? They offered me candy. Okay, they were trying to get me in the van. They were going to kidnap me and try to do mean, weird things to me. Okay, yeah, you didn't see them kick JLR. You didn't see them boo John O'Keefe's mama. Come on now, Vinny.
Yeah, I saw that. That was awful.
What you see? You seen him boo John O'Keefe's mom? Jeff?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
that was ridiculous.
That's the most horrible part of it. Is like that woman is the victim, and they're acting like Karen Reed is some rock star, and John O'Keefe's mama's over there crying, and she's getting booed.
Yeah, that was absolutely awful.
Yeah, and that's all behind Turtle Boy. That's my thing. Like, Turtle Boy's so bad it makes you want Karen Reed to go to jail. Not that Karen Reed, there's enough evidence, but the people around her are so bad it puts that bad taste in your mouth even about her.
Yeah, and then you got Turtle Boy, and then you got his little sidekick who wants to be like Turtle Boy, the what is that? LT.
Yeah, I know what. Want to be Fred Durst looking ass dude?
Yeah.
That
one. I was watching him, and he's that. When I first started watching him, is when I thought, oh, okay, she's innocent. I'm listening to him, very beginning of the case, everything, and then I was just like, oh, I don't know. And then he did something, I can't remember what he did, but I was just like, I was over him, and I just had to stay away from this channel.
Yeah, I got you. All right, we got Rose in the backstage. We're gonna let Rose back in for a minute. Let's see if she might be twisted. Let's check.
Let's go.
Hey, Rose. Rose, can you hear us? All right, you did all that to come back in, Rose, and you're not even there. Okay. All right, well, let's jump back into this then.
Past constitutional.
Oh, I didn't even see these people.
Are they
down
300 feet? Are they 300 feet?
It's like 250. So I mean,
all right, let's go. Rose, jump back in down here.
Can you?
Hey, Rose. Yeah,
Hey.
I can hear you.
Jimmy, I'd like to question: how come Karen Reed has to become so popular? I mean, oh my gosh, why? There's so many important stories. Like, what has she created a cult? I mean, I hear this all the time, with you and the battle on the streets and things. It's like, why, Jimmy? Why must she be so predominantly popular right now? Why?
I
Does
don't
she
know.
deserve it?
I don't know. I'm not a woman. I can't figure it out. Jess, why you think she's so popular?
I think it's because she's an attractive woman and she's got the backing of these idiot kids, I call them.
Uh-huh.
And it's like she said, they're growing a cult, a free Karen Reed cult.
Yeah. Yeah, like
That's the way I see it. It's ridiculous.
I think it's like my whole thing with these people is like a lot of them didn't know each other and
Jimmy,
they built these
Jimmy,
friendships. Hold on, Rose.
Jimmy,
Let me finish talking, Rose.
thank you.
What are you thanking me for?
I do want to hear you talking. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then let me talk, Rose. That they built these friendships out there and now they feel like they're a team and they're fighting for something together. And they overlook all the negative stuff about Karen Reed, right? And they just only focus on their narrative. And they don't want to hear nothing else if it don't fit their narrative. So, and then these are older women that really didn't have nothing going on, and now they have something to fight for. So they're going full steam ahead because it gives them a purpose in life. And I believe everybody got to have a purpose. And I think that has something to do with the popularity of her with older women.
I see people in the chat saying, attractive. No. Well,
I don't think she's
be
that
honest.
attractive, but
I mean, well, she's
not ugly, but I don't think
not-
she's like supermodel hot.
May
But
I
that's
interject?
where-
Excuse me,
go for it.
Jesse. I see the same comments you're seeing. She's attractive, and she's kind of one of those brown-eyed girls that can be attractive. But when Jimmy, you put a picture of her up there, like it's in your. I see it on my TV. That picture makes her look nuts. Okay.
I mean, she's probably.
And
I think she is a little nuts. And
but you know what, honey? A picture can paint 1,000 words. You can look at a picture and you can interpret it any way you want. But the streets of Boston seem to be saying, free Karen Reed. I don't understand it.
well, not Boston. That ain't the street of Boston. That's Denham, Massachusetts. Boston is the big city, and there ain't nobody out there screaming free Karen Reed.
Well, thank you.
This is a little small part of Massachusetts. It's about an hour. It's about an hour outside of Boston.
Well, wait a minute now. You've made this story seem bigger, like you're going to Boston and all of Boston and
Well, I do go to Boston because that's where I fly into, is Boston, and then I drive an hour into Denham.
Oh, so it's not everyone in Denham that's saying, well, okay, just forget about that nonsense.
Most of the people that are out there are not from this little small town.
Okay, first I'd like to say one thing with love. I saw someone on your chat call me bipolar Rose. And you know what? If I do have bipolar, have mercy, okay? Don't be so mean, people, like just, ooh. And then the second thing I'd like to say is, why is this woman become so popular? Why was there no? Wait a minute. My honest question is, I had a brain fart. Sorry. What is the most or least charge that she could actually get out of this? I mean, if they charge her for drunken driving, they can't prove that because 7 hours later they did a alcohol test. She was still drunk, but it could always be said that between that hour of running him over and by the time she got home, she could have drank all that shit at home, right? So, what is the most or least charge that she's up against?
She's the least charge she's up against. She's facing second-degree murder and DUI, multiple counts of second-degree murder.
Well, how can they prove? How can they prove the DUI? Like the other night on your
Because
show,
she admitted to having the drinks, the doubles, her own admission.
That doesn't mean like the other night on your show, it was like, oh, she bought all these drinks and someone brought up, well, that doesn't mean she drank them.
She openly admitted she drank the drinks. In the recent documentary, she said she had 6 drinks and they were doubles. And then she was intoxicated. So from her own confessions, she was drinking and driving.
So you think she's going to get caught from her own confessions?
And I don't think they're going to help her.
Okay. Well, I would like for you to also check into that. The last trial, the jurors were played. They had no clue, and they were trying and begging to ask the judge about questions, and nothing came back real for them. And that's how it became a mistrial. So.
Okay. All right. Well, let's jump back into this video, Rose.
It is across the street from the event,
across the street. Well, guess what? They're not allowed across the street here.
Okay. Well, but it's across the street here because there's a library there. So they're allowed to go on that, which is also,
they're not allowed to go to the library in Dedham.
They're going to put the food trucks out of business. What about the food trucks? They're going to put them out of business.
What's that got to do?
They work. These people. They're going to lose business if you move them up the block. Now they have to split their business between the courthouse and the protesters. I'm a big proponent of freedom of speech, but I can kind of see.
I ain't seen no food trucks out there for one.
People worried about some food trucks.
Yeah, they're worried about some food. Where were the damn food trucks? There ain't no food trucks out there. I mean, they were in a church, in front of a church, acting a fool, supporting alleged killer. I'm sure that church don't want them in front of their church on their property. So, to push them people back.
Definitely not on the church.
Yeah, I mean, to push them back to me ain't a big deal. You have the right to protest. You just can't protest in that area because it could affect the jury selection. So, I mean, I don't have no problem with it. Plus, I don't support the Karen Reed people. So whatever gives them a hard time, I'm all for it. So sue me, bitch. You know what I'm saying?
See that this is an issue. This is like a bit of a problem. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to do what Noriega did? You're going to blast Van Halen outside? Or sometimes convenience stores will blast classical music to chase teenagers away? It does seem to be an issue.
They do that too. I've known stores to do that. They play music that nobody likes, so nobody hangs out in front of the store.
If they're hearing these people, does it not?
I don't even understand that analogy.
No
one's blasting Van Halen and putting music in the 7-Eleven parking lot because they don't want the kids congregating there. They have the right to do that.
Smiley face emoji. Smiley face.
Okay,
emoji.
listen, guys.
Smiley face emoji. Smiley.
When you just join, if you donate MST 4581, we have a 2 emoji limit. Okay, because it reads it out and it'll be like emoji smiling, emoji. It'll take 20 minutes, so you get 2 emojis. That's it. Okay, 2 emojis. Any more than that is too much.
And the kids should not be there loitering. Okay, what's the difference? I mean, that's got nothing to do with this. This is, they don't want people massed around the area where witnesses are going in, people are going in.
Have you ever heard of the freaking word facetious? Go ahead.
Facetious seashells by the seashore? Is that the one?
Go ahead.
The Constitution is a very delicate document.
No, it's not.
It's very
a living document. It's a living document.
You start damaging this thing and it all falls apart.
Oh, but please, let's not start talking about that now because we'll get into a politics conversation.
This is not politics.
things
This
like
is
due
freedom
process
of
out the
speech,
window
Al.
and everything
This is
else.
freedom of speech, Al. This is the bedrock. You were at Woodstock, for goodness sake.
I was.
Of all people on this panel that should believe in free speech.
I do.
Right? Right?
And I
Tune
believe
in,
that
tune
there are-
out,
I
drop
believe-
in, drop out,
I
whatever it
believe-
was back in the 60s, man.
I believe there
That's
can
what
be
we're
time.
living now.
I
You gotta
believe that
It's tune in, drop out. Okay. Tune in, drop out. Rose, you know all about that, don't you? Did we lose Rose? I think we lost Rose. Okay. That may have been before your time, Jess. You wasn't around for Woodstock, was you?
Yeah, I'm 38. I
yeah, that's before your time. What about Woodstock 1999 with Limp Bizkit and Corn?
didn't go.
Oh,
No.
I didn't go either. I did just watch a documentary on it on Netflix where they burnt the place down and people were slinging mud and it was just a big melee. But I mean, I believe in freedom of speech too. I don't believe you should disrupt the court system. And I
No.
believe that's what them people are out there doing is disrupting the court. Like you're free to say whatever you want, just say it down the road.
Right.
know?
Well, that's just going to be a distraction too. You know.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be hearing them people inside the courtroom. If you was inside the courtroom making noise, it would be disorderly conduct. What do they call it? Attempt of court.
Yeah.
And they would put you in jail for disrupting the court if you was inside the court. So what's the difference if you're disrupting the court outside? It's the same thing. If you can go to jail for disrupting it inside, you should go to jail for disrupting the courts outside. So back up, right? There's just a buffer zone. They ain't saying you can't be there. They're just saying you can't be in this area screaming because they can hear it in the court. Witnesses could be scared, and they don't want that. So I don't have any problem with a buffer zone, and they're going to lose the law, this lawsuit they got against Bev anyway. They're going to lose. I think they tried this when she put the first buffer zone in place at the last trial. They tried the same thing, but the last one was only a half a block. You had to be at the end of the where the court steps were. So it was like they were super close, but they still was a buffer zone, and it was out there.
Kelly, it is a bit of an intimidation.
Yeah, I think so. I think that they want to intimidate people, and the jury has to get in and out that courthouse, and then all you're seeing are these people saying that Karen Reed is innocent. It may sway your opinion.
Yeah,
and that's all they're trying to do anyway, is sway people's opinions.
Yeah, and be assholes to a dead guy's mom.
Yeah, that's the worst. That's the horrible part of it. And we'll see. I mean, it's coming up fast. They've already picked 10 jurors. They said it was going to take over a month just to pick the jury, but it seems like it's going a lot faster than that. It seems like the jury will be picked by the end of next week, is what I'm thinking. If they've seated 10 people in 1 week, jury selection should last probably to the end of next week and the trial start. So the sooner the better for me. I'm ready to end all this Karen Reed shit either way.
No kidding. I thought it was going to be over the first one.
I did too. I thought they were going to get her, but they didn't. She slid out.
Fight the power.
I believe that there can be time and place restraints, okay, and restrictions. Time and place.
Thank you,
I
Turtle
shouldn't
Gang.
be able to blast Van Halen at 3:00 in the morning in
Why
my
do you keep
neighborhood.
talking about Van Halen? Let's talk about.
He said, "Why you keep talking about Van Halen? Because you might as well jump, Vinny. You might as well jump."
Let's talk about the anti-Judge Cannoni protesters who have filed the lawsuit. Why do they have to be 2.5 blocks down the street, nowhere near the courthouse? Why are they not allowed on private property? Why are they not allowed to just hold their signs and say nothing?
They ain't allowed on private property, Vinny, because it's private property. Okay? If it was public property, that'd be different. But it's private property. I think he misspoke.
Why he kept saying that. But private property, yes. Keep your ass off private property.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, I think he meant public property, but he said it wrong. He said private property. Your ass can't be on private. Some states people can shoot you for being on their property,
Yes.
right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think he meant to say public property. Why can't they be on public property? But he said private property, right? That's what he said. But I think he just misspoke.
Nothing right in front of the courthouse.
So they're going to get the opportunity to argue that in front of the federal court. And let's see what the federal court says. That's today. And let's see what they say. I guarantee you, they're going to end up being told, yeah, you have to go there. All right. You're not allowed to throw a monkey wrench into the halls of justice, man. Okay.
Well, here's the big
No monkey
problem.
wrenches.
Can I
None.
tell you, is there no conflict of interest in Judge Cannoni restricting the
Why
speech
did
of
Jim
people who are
McCabe
protesting?
Google how long to die in cold?
Why did Jen McCabe Google how long to die in cold? We know that got debunked, Carrie. She did it because Karen Reed asked her to do it when they found John unresponsive in the snow and they were digging him out the snow. She was screaming, how long does it take to die in the cold? And Jen McCabe searched it. The Celebrate experts have testified, or they're going to testify in this trial, that search was made at 6 o'clock in the morning, not 2:30, like, the conspiracy.
How, okay, with that conspiracy, how did it go from it being at 2 o'clock in the morning to now it's at 6 o'clock?
Because when she had the page open, she had opened the page to search something else about the kids' game, like a sporting event.
At 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when she grabbed her phone, she used the same search browser to search it again. And Celebrate had updated their system and their software. And now they're able to tell that at second, when she searched, it was at 6 in the morning, which is what reason, unless the conspiracy people are believing that Colin Albert killed this man for no reason, right? And why everybody's covering it up. But for a conspiracy like that to work, one card crumbles, the whole thing comes down. And nobody's told on it. I don't believe the conspiracy. And to Celebrate people that created the technology to extract this information from the phone, they're going to testify that search was made at 6 o'clock in the morning. All right. The last dude that came up there and said it was at 2:30, he had to apologize to the court and say he made a mistake. So the experts are saying it was done at past 6 o'clock in the morning. Jen McCabe was not lying. She was absolutely telling the truth about when the Google search was made. Experts with the company that extracts the technology from the phones is going to testify to that. So that right there, if you're holding on to that, thinking Karen Reed's going to be free, because that is going a different way this time. Now, at that time, the first trial, they didn't know all that, but now they got the information and they know that. So, I mean, you got taillight pieces in John O'Keefe's clothes. You got his DNA on the bumper of the car. He has injuries that are consistent with a car wreck. You got Karen Reed saying, I hit him. Could I hit him? Did I hit him? You got Karen Reed saying, I was intoxicated. I had 6 drinks. They were doubles. You got Karen Reed saying she went there and pulled a piece of glass out of his face and he gushed blood. Well, that means he was alive when you pulled that piece of glass out of his face, because if your heart ain't beating, you ain't gushing blood.
Well,
okay?
when did that come out?
That came out in the ID documentary.
I must have missed that.
That was recent.
That's
the one she just done, where the reporters came to her house and they recorded like 60 hours or 600 hours of footage of her. And she was just telling it all. I mean, she was just like, it was almost to me like a confession.
Before another trial, that's like the dumbest thing to do.
I know. I couldn't believe it. Like right before you go on trial, you're going to get up on TV and say you had 6 drinks and they were doubles and you was intoxicated. That's what she said.
6 doubles, that's a lot.
Yes, that's what I said, because I thought she had 9 drinks. But she said, no, I had 6 drinks, but I was buying a drink and a shot at the same time, and she was pouring the shots into the drinks.
And depending on what color liquor that would be, I would be either, might be trying to fight the whole bar.
And yeah, I know. And if I had that many drinks, I'd be running over all of Boston, right? All of Denham would be ran over.
Crazy as can be.
So I mean, that's what she said, and like that's her own admission. All she's doing is hurting herself.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure now.
Testing her?
Well, they're protesting her in the face of a trial that she's handling, which will also have detrimental effects for the people involved in the trial.
I think it's a slippery slope when we give too much power. And my father was a judge. When you give too much power to a judge who can shut down speech aimed at her, I just think that's a slippery slope.
And your father would.
That's what we would call a bad precedent.
Your father would have permitted a buffer zone on abortion clinics and other places. Even people who are picketing their place of work have an area where they're allowed to be.
Al,
and an
you
area
seem
where
like
they're
you're
not
hooked on abortion today. Let's talk about
allowed.
freedom.
But that's the only. That's the only.
This is the courthouse. Wait. This is protesting the government itself. We're restricting protest against the government itself. Where does it end?
That's not true, Vinny. They don't have a problem with them protesting the judge. They have a problem with them disrupting the courts because of Karen Reed. You don't see anybody out there with signs that say F Bev, right? They're all free Karen Reed signs. I understand his fight that he's trying to make. If you wanted to protest a judge, you should have the right to be able to protest that judge. I agree with that. Right, but they're using that as an excuse to get closer because really they want to support Karen Reed, is what it is. That's like it's using one fight to try to win another fight, is what I think. It's the argument that he's trying to make, but that ain't the case. If they were all out there in support of Bev is bad and we want to protest this judge, well, why ain't they protesting the judge when the Karen Reed trial wasn't going on? Like if they were out there protesting when Karen Reed wasn't around, where were they at when Karen Reed wasn't around there, Vinny? Right? They wasn't there because they're not protesting Bev. They're protesting the whole Karen Reed thing, and it's disrupting the courts. Right. And as a prosecutor, would you want somebody disrupting the court while you was trying to prosecute somebody? No. If somebody was in the courtroom screaming or heckling you while you was trying to prosecute somebody, you would want them arrested. It's like a double standard kind of thing.
Are we not allowed to protest outside of all government buildings? Shouldn't the citizens be able to protest their government? Is not the judicial branch part of the government?
As long as it's not interfering with the business of government. Okay? It's allowed to protest. No one's saying they can't put the signs up. No one's saying you can't say F the draft and everything along those lines.
You've got to be almost like the next town over.
No, it's not that.
It is not the next town over. Vinny is stretching that way out.
Yes.
They're literally one block away. One block. They're on the other side of the church. The church is literally across the street from the courthouse. They're on the other side of the church, which is actually one city block, which is a big block, though. It ain't a small block. I would say in a decent city, it's 2 city blocks. But there it's 1 city block because it's just a long block. But there may be, if they scream really loud, you might be able to hear them outside the court. But you definitely ain't going to hear them inside the court.
Well, you're exaggerating.
Yes, ma'am.
So badly. It's so.
Come on up with us, ma'am. You can join us. The link is at the top, pinned to the top.
It's such an exaggeration, Vinny, and I understand why you're doing it that way, but it is such an exaggeration.
Oh, because I work in the media and I cherish the First Amendment, provides me an opportunity to express my viewpoints, my opinions.
Who's stopping you? Who's stopping you?
Well, it's got to be careful. It's a slippery slope, Al. Slippery slope.
That is not saying they can't protest.
A member of the government cutting down speech. Wait. Al, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at a member of the government shutting down speech protesting that member of the government.
Vinny, that's not true. That is not true, Vinny. Why does Vinny think this is all about Bev? That's what he's making it out to be. This has nothing to do with Bev. Okay, it has nothing to do with Bev. It has to do with these people are out there screaming Karen Reed's innocent and that Colin Albert's a killer and these people are innocent people are murderers, right? They're out there on the steps of the court spreading misinformation or stuff that there's no proof to what they're saying. And that if a jury member hears that, it's like it's horrible. It's terrible. What's wrong with having a fair trial, right? A trial that's not a circus and it's not being disrupted by people outside on the courthouse that are basing their whole argument on a conspiracy. Okay. They're no different than like QAnon to me, right? If the whole argument is a conspiracy that they have no proof of, none, zero, zip. And it seems like, he was a prosecutor, right? Vinny was a prosecutor. Why does he seem so much like a defense attorney?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, we got Mab with us.
He's sounding like.
What's up? What's up, Mab? Okay, let's see if he can hear us. Can you hear us, Mab? All right, we lost him. Yeah, I think Vinny he's a Karen Reed supporter. I've been knowing that anyway. Now, a lot of things Vinny says I agree with. It's just this one I don't agree with. I don't agree with it. I just think that these people are not, some of them are really horrible. Their actions are really horrible. Some of the things they say are really horrible. What they've done to John O'Keefe's mom is unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. So Vinny from Jersey, I know he was close with his mom. How would he like if somebody done his mom like that? That's horrible. I don't see how people can support these people, unless you really believe she's innocent. Then I get it. But if there's any doubt in your mind, I wouldn't be supporting some of these people.
I still wouldn't get that.
Yeah, I still wouldn't get it.
I wouldn't get that.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to boo his mother or be mean to her in any way whatsoever.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Hold on. Let's see. Rose just popped back in.
Hey, Dolly.
Hey, Rose.
I got a question. I want to know how come all the police officers, and I want everyone to understand, I'm not on any side. I'm the type of person that likes to look at things from all angles. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And then try to find a solution. That's how I am.
Hey, Mab.
I want to know how come all the officers that were in that party circle that night, all drinking, aren't being charged with, well, they were drunk too, driving around. Like, is it okay because I'm an officer?
How do we know they were driving around?
Well,
how you know their wives didn't pick them up, or how do you know their wife didn't drive and she wasn't drinking? We don't know that.
We don't know that. But I thought I heard one of the stories saying everybody kind of left and drove, like, it was a sort of a caravan sort of party event.
Yeah, but how do we know who was driving, who drank what?
Well, I guess that answers my question.
They're not out here saying they had 6 drinks and doubles. They ain't say shit. We don't know if they had 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers. We don't know. We don't know their level of intoxication. They didn't tell us. Karen Reed told us. She said she had 6 and they were doubles. So is it wrong if any of them were drinking, driving, Rose? Absolutely it's wrong. But they didn't run over John O'Keefe.
Yeah.
They don't have a broken tail light and they remember where they were at.
I think the most they can get her for is involuntary manslaughter. That's my opinion. I mean,
no, that ain't even on the table.
No?
No. Second degree murder. There's no such thing as an accident when you get behind the car drinking.
That's right. You're right. Yep.
If
And
you
I
were
just
sober and hit somebody, then yes, it's involuntary manslaughter or manslaughter. But with you drinking, it becomes second degree murder.
Well, now, Jimmy, I just want you and the crew to know I'm home. I never drink and drive. I get my own, like, okay, it's Friday. I want to listen to Jimmy and maybe I'll have a few beers and little Maui Wowie or something. And I'm safe. I'm home. I never drink and drive. It's just me. No. But
Okay.
I know people do. I,
Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
and it's wrong, especially if police officers are doing it, you know?
Yeah, I
Judges
agree.
do it.
I agree.
Everybody does it. I mean, let's just be honest.
Police are just like everybody else. They party and too much. They probably do it worse than most people.
Yeah, yeah.
Judges, lawyers,
I can
prosecutors,
honestly
whatever.
say when I was young, I did. I did. And I was blessed. I have to say, honestly, when you look at like the news about drunk drivers, and I'm really glad we live in Virginia. It's a tight state, you know, like you don't drink and drive around here. And I guess it's been at least 30 years since I've done that. You know, but I'm grown, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Well, you
You
got to
know,
learn from your mistakes, and thank God you're still here with us, Rose. A lot of
well,
accidents happen when people get behind of a vehicle intoxicated.
well,
Don't drink
you'd
and
think
drive.
the police officers would know that.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, yeah, if there's some proof that they were drinking and they can prove it, then they should be charged with it also. But right now, that I guess there ain't no proof. There's no way to prove who had what to drink and who was driving whose vehicle. So they're not being charged with that. Karen Reed is the one that had a broken tail light, John's DNA on his thing. Couldn't remember where she was at. She's the one that said, did I hit him? Could I hit him? Did I clip him in my drunken stupor? And he lay there and
Okay.
died. She's the one
On
that
that
said all these
note,
things.
let's talk about a drunken stupor. Mab and everybody who's up. I have, you know, everybody can make fun of me, whatever. I do drink. I like a couple beers and my Maui Wowie, whatever. Okay. I do it responsibly. Now, here's the thing. Back in the day when I could drink like and maybe get a tiny bit to the blackout stage, like where she was that night. Plus she had rage. She had rage. I was never the type of person. I'm a happy. I'm a happy soul. You want to drink? Let's make jokes, okay? But so
Did you just snort, Rose? Like
nothing illegal. I just laugh. I laugh.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
But now I coughed. Is that okay?
Yeah, you're fine, Rose. You're fine.
Well, in that morning when you kind of starting to wake out of your stupor, you like get little clips. And Jimmy, you've done your share of drinking. I mean, you hit beer bottles or beer cans on top of your head back in your band days and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I've been some ragings. I bet
Yeah.
I've gotten tore up.
But the sad thing is, as you slowly come back from your stupor, you start remembering, like, oh shit, man, did I do that? Did I say that? Right? And that's what it sounds like she was saying that morning as she was starting to arise, like, oh shit, I think I did hit John. Oh my God.
And they were beer cans. They weren't beer bottles. I ain't never smashed a beer bottle on my head. It was a beer can.
I know that, Jimmy. I said that.
And I don't even think I drank that beer. That was just to throw the beer on the crowd.
Oh, I hope it was a can and not a bottle.
It was a can.
Okay. Thank you. But do you see what I'm saying? Like in the stupor, when you're starting to come out of it, sort of in the morning, you start getting glimpses of, oh shit, man, I threw up last night, or I was in the bushes, or man, I think I hit something.
Yeah, I don't usually drink beer. So if I was performing,
Jimmy, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking
just
about
saying, I usually drink liquor if I'm drinking. Like I had
Well,
the beer in my hand for show, and I usually drink
well,
liquor.
I like my beer. I'm German. Forgive me then, okay? Beer fest.
Uh-huh.
And I do like a little shot of tequila, but who can
Oh,
no, nothing tonight. Who can afford it? But when I'm just saying in the morning she woke up and she started having little remembrances of things that happened. Like, oh shit, I think I hit something. And I remember where I was, like, you know, and she went back there and, was like, are you following me at all?
yeah.
Anyone?
No, Mad might be.
I
I'm
think
not.
she said, "Oh shit, I hit John."
Mm, yes. Oh shit. And he
I
didn't
think
call
she knew
me all
exactly
night.
what she did.
What?
I think she knew exactly what she did.
When she came out of her stupor, right?
No, I think she was drunk as a
You
skunk.
think you think she knew exactly what she did that night? I don't.
I think maybe she did, and she took off, but she didn't realize the severity of it.
I
There
think
And
you go, Jess. I agree with her.
Yes. I think Jess just made sense of something.
I make sense all the time.
I
She
think
said
she
I make sense all the time.
I
think she was
wish I
very,
could. I wish
I
I
think
could.
I think she had a very explosive personality,
Uh-huh.
and they were fighting already. They were probably heavy into fighting right at that moment. She
Yep.
lost it and
Yep.
jammed
Well,
it in reverse and pegged the foot pedal. I mean, it was snowing,
Mm.
right? So probably
I,
going in reverse, spinning wheels, burning rubber, and wham!
Mab, did you ever date any crazy women before Mrs. Mab?
Yes,
I've dated plenty of crazy women.
I
Did
was
Jess say
we're
married.
all
yes too?
crazy.
Jess, you dated crazy women?
Better
Me?
looking they are, the
Yeah, I
crazier they.
thought you said yes.
I,
Jimmy,
we're
are you
all
gonna
crazy.
are you gonna ask me the same question?
No, because you didn't
You
say yes.
you've been dating crazy women, Rose?
No. However, I've had some of the most sexiest men in my life.
I hear you, Rose.
I have.
I
And
just, you know what? I just found out today that Val Kilmer died.
I
Yeah.
know, oh my God,
A minute.
sexy. But you know who was sexier? And I watched a movie called Revenge. It's with uh, Kevin Costner,
Uh-huh.
Malin Stowe, and the old Mexican guy. Oh, what's his name? And in that
Pedro.
movie, huh?
Pedro.
Pedro.
No, forget it. Just I digress. I'm sorry. But
Forget it.
I know what a sexy man looks like. And you know what? He's not always buff. I don't like these muscle. They look like the Michelin man, like their head is about ready to pop off their.
Have over there flexing.
Yeah. Oh, leave me alone. I just want, what kind of face I like is John Lennon's face, where he had that sharp pointed, he just looked like he knew something about
Dwarf.
something. Huh?
Look like a dwarf.
Who, John
John,
Lennon?
Yeah.
yeah, I like his face. That's the kind of face I like.
And then
And
he didn't he get killed by a fan?
Yeah.
it
That's kind of
Shot
wasn't
right outside his
it
apartment.
it
yeah, right
wasn't
out.
it wasn't me, Jimmy.
I'm just saying that's the kind of look I got. Somebody that killed me that actually likes me.
The last boyfriend that I had, just in case anyone wants to know the Rose story,
Nobody wants to know, Rose.
I'm going to say he was Oriental from
Oh,
Asia. And
really hung well then, right?
he was a kung fu guy. And he had,
His name was Bruce Lee.
he looked like his body was like Bruce Lee, but
Oh Lord.
very slender. But you know how strong Bruce Lee freaking was? Like he had that kind of strong mindset. And to look at him, it was nothing, but it was his whole body and persona. And I was with him for 11 years, and he was so very, very sick, always sick. I took care of him like a nurse, and he often called me, "You are like my my nurse, my Gloria, because he was in that Vietnam War.
You were his
and,
little wonton.
and he was through that Agent Orange, and he became very, very sick. He was on our side, the CIA, and
Antonio Banderas.
he had to he had to leave the country because after the war ended in Vietnam, he had to leave. And I mean, he told me stories about meeting the Khmer Rouge. And
Okay, Rose.
but anyway, the end of my story with that is we were together for 11 years, and in the
I thought it was
end,
8. You said
You
8.
killed him, didn't you? He passed
I
away
s-
under your care.
I said 11 years.
Okay.
And in the end, he did pass away. He was just so tired.
I'm
And
listening to you. That's
hey,
what's gonna happen. They just die over here. Just die.
good one, Jimmy. I'll give you that one.
I know you
But
will.
his name was Lundy, Lundy, and he was the most precious. And that was the last boyfriend I
It
had.
doesn't matter. In my best rock voice. Okay, let's get back on track. You got way off into
I'm sorry.
Roseland.
Damn Khmer Rouge.
I digress, but he taught me a lot. And he said,
Don't
Rose,
digress much, honey.
Okay. All right. We drop Rose for a minute. I can't take it. I can't take it. All right. I can only take Rose for 30 minutes at a time.
Hey,
Okay.
so there's this one time at band camp.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Rose went from Karen Reed to I dated an Asian man 37 years ago. We were together in the CIA. He had a body like Bruce Lee. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what the hell is going on? What the hell? I'm about to break out the soundboard. Okay.
I dated a guy named Robert in 1988.
Christy Ford.
Christy Ford.
Oh, Lord. That's the best comment of the night right there. I dated a guy named Robert in 1988. You know, I remember my first big wheel, right? It was a Dukes of Hazzard when it had the little brake on it. Nothing to do with anything anybody's talking about, right? Rose is just in her own world. She's like, she's dedicated, right? That's that sipping and tipping, right? Just thank God Rose ain't driving, right? That's Karen Reed. That's where Karen Reed was at when she backed over John O'Keefe. She was like, I dated this little Asian man one time.
Bam!
Right into John O'Keefe. And Jess, did you say all women are crazy? Did you say that earlier?
I did.
What level of crazy? I mean, I get it, y'all are crazy.
Everybody has a different level, of course.
Uh-huh. What level crazy do you think you are?
Dolly. You don't want to ask that question. I'm very transparent about my bipolarness, okay?
Okay,
so,
we'll use a scale from 1 to 10 on crazy level. I see
Most
my crazy
of them are above 3.
Above 3. I would say I'm a 6. I'm a little crazy, a little wild. Not bad crazy, just the kind of crazy that I might go to jail every now and then for doing something stupid.
I'm gonna give myself an 8.
An 8?
Ooh.
Okay.
You must not be married.
What?
Are you married?
I am actually. I just filed for divorce a month ago, though.
Or did he?
I filed divorce.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
That's funny.
Okay. So let's see if we can get back on track. I know we derailed. Rose derailed the train. So we're going to get back to.
I embrace my crazy.
You embrace it? Well, that's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think, the same here. I don't deny being a little crazy.
The only reason I have a problem with it at the moment is because I have a 10-year-old daughter who's my freaking mini-me, and oh my God.
As long as she don't scream and attack you, you good. Okay.
Oh my God.
And just go in on you and chop you up. with a rusty bread knife, if you're that kind of crazy. I think that's a
he
10,
might
right?
do that to a girl in school who has a big forehead.
Just think you're only 2 notches away from the razzle dazzle. Okay. All right, so let's get back to old Vinny over here. Let's see what he has to say about fight for your constitutional rights, the First Amendment to protest.
That's exactly what this case is. It's very specific.
Well, they're a member of the judiciary. They're a member of the judiciary, which is different than a member of the government.
No, it isn't.
A little bit. Yes, it is. It's a separate branch.
It's a branch of the government.
But it's still not it's not a person that is going to be sitting there making policy for you. It's a person who's supposed to be sitting there listening to a case. And she's making a decision as to a buffer zone with regards to same, because it interferes with the system that is going forward there. Okay? I don't agree that she should have a problem setting up a buffer zone, whether they're protesting her judge's law clerk, or protesting the prosecutor, or even the defense counsel. Okay? They have the right to go in there safely. They have the right to sit there and be able to do their job without having harassment. Okay? They have that right. Okay? And Karen Reed, okay, and the victims' families, everybody has a right. And I believe in that right. And if you're going to impinge upon that right, and that to me, that right is a lot more sacred, that they should get a fair trial, okay? And
amen to this, dude. I agree with that. I agree 100% that right overstates the one of the protests, and that they're,
they have a right to protest, but they don't have a right to choose where they protest.
Yes, there you go. That's a good way to look at it. And the most important thing is a fair trial, right? Everybody has the right to a fair trial, and this ain't fair if you're out on the court steps scaring witnesses and you're tampering with the jury.
Undue influence.
So I don't have no problem with that. She's not saying they can't show up out there with signs. They just can't do it right there at the entrance of the courthouse. So it's just something to bitch and moan and cry about, because that's what they're going to do anytime they don't get their way. And
why is Vinny going so postal on this issue?
I think he's a Karen Reed supporter, and he said he's an advocate for the First Amendment because he's a journalist. So you should have that right.
They have the right to the First Amendment, not just where you want and when you want.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that, if it's interfering with the court, if you was in court, you have the right to freedom of speech, right? But go into court and run your mouth and see how fast it takes that judge to lock your ass up.
Yeah.
Like, all right, disorderly conduct. What do they call it? What do they call it? Contempt. There you go. Contempt of court. You're being unruly. You'll have the damn deputy right behind you, handcuffing your ass and taking you to the back. 10 days, right? So what's the difference if you're standing in the courtroom doing it, or if you're standing outside the courtroom doing it? If you're interfering or you're disturbing the process, the legal process, then they put you in jail for it.
They want to interfere with the process.
Yes, I agree. And Vinny's making it out to be like it's about Bev, and it's really not. They're out there in support of Karen Reed. They ain't out there to protest Bev. They're not protesting the court. They're protesting. They're screaming for Karen Reed because they're Karen Reed simps.
They're cult members.
Cult members.
Allegedly, okay, alleged cult members. I don't think they're all cult members. I think some of them are cultish.
I think that these people have nothing better to do. They don't have jobs. And this is just another aspect of mob mentality. They get something to latch their little fingers into and to protest. And Karen Reed was it.
And then some of them, this is their job. They have to create chaos content in order to make money.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Tom CPU guy, he looks just like the dude from Heaven's Gate, the cult leader.
Doe,
yeah, it looks just like Doe.
I thought TikTok Tony looked just like Doe.
Nah, Tom CPU looks just like him. Like when I see him, I think the Hellbot comet's gonna fly by. I'm like, yeah, this dude looks just like the fucking cult leader from Heaven's Gate. I'm like, they,
convinced all these people to kill themselves. Thought they were gonna ride that damn comet to
yeah, that's
Nirvana.
Heaven's. Yeah, Heaven's Gate cult is the one that was chasing the Hellbot comet. The tail,
Jeez.
a UFO was flying in the tail of the Hellbot comet.
Yeah.
And they had to leave their their spiritual souls had to leave to catch the ship. So
Wonder if they made it.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to test it. I wouldn't want to be in that group. All right.
The victims get a fair trial than having somebody yelling, "Hey, hey, no, judge has to go." I mean, what does that matter? That's garbage. Garbage.
Okay. So does this rule apply if we were talking about a case that was, let's say it was, I don't know, a case involving a much more broader issue across society, not about a specific person, but a bigger issue, whether it's gender-based, race-based, or something else, an issue like that, we are still going to keep everyone away from the courthouse. We're going to keep people away who are protesting the judge.
That's wrong. You just contradicted yourself.
That's dangerous, Al. That's
But I'm not
dangerous.
advocating. I'm not advocating that. Okay,
That's what's happening, though.
No, that's not what's happening. Vinny is making it out to be something else it ain't.
Happening.
Wait a
These
minute.
people are nowhere near the courthouse.
First of
now.
all, you're coming up with something that's not even specific. All right, so let's go specifics. Okay, the trial needs to be done. The trial needs to be done without harassment, without intimidation.
Where's the evidence of the harassment?
I'm sorry?
Who's being harassed?
Well, if they're chanting at people's faces when they're going into the
Not
place,
chanting in people's faces when they go in. The jury meets at an undisclosed location.
I understand that, but what I'm trying to tell you is that anyone going into that,
brought in the back
if
of the
the
courthouse. No one's
jurors
near the jury.
if the
No one
jurors
is near
hear
the
it,
jury at all.
if the jurors
Facts not
hear
evidence.
it,
No, Judge
if
Jones,
the-
would you rule on this? He's
if the
arguing
jurors
facts
hear
not
it,
evidence.
the jurors hear it.
Thanks,
It's no
baby.
good. John O'Keefe's family doesn't deserve to have that. Okay.
Amen to that. He's
Amen
right.
to-
Vinny, they are screaming in people's faces.
The whole idea of it.
Uh-huh.
And they
And
were
so-
screaming shit at the jury when they were walking in the courtroom the first time, because I was there during jury selection of the first trial. I was out there. I seen what they were doing. My own eyes, Vinny. Me, myself, I seen it. Seen it. So yeah, and then of course, booing his mama, booing John's brother, booing the family, booing the Alberts, trying to intimidate them. That
Bunch of crazy people.
yeah. In like, how can he? Vinny knows that stuff occurred. Vinny follows it close enough to know what
His face.
Yeah, he thinks Karen Reed that Kool-Aid good. He had Vinny done had him a couple cups of that Kool-Aid or something. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe he
He
wants
got-
to get some of that Karen Reed.
Well, I think Vinny's diabetic, so he probably can't even have no Kool-Aid.
Oh.
Right. So I think he's diabetic. I'm not for sure. But I think he is, because I've heard him saying something about it before.
Doesn't deserve that. Absolutely not. And you know what? It's not fair. And setting up that buffer zone is fair. It's time and place, and there's no problem with that.
You shouted first, yeah, but I shouted at Karen Reed. Okay, all I told her was she was going to look good in orange, and that ain't protesting. I mean, she might look good in orange. Orange might be her color. Okay,
Want a piece of candy?
Yeah, I mean, if they can shout, I can shout. Right? We all shout. I said it trolling. I was out there trolling. I wasn't protesting. There's a difference between protesting and trolling. I screamed trays. Okay. I didn't scream. I didn't scream at the jury or anything like that. I just said, you gonna look good in orange, Karen, and trays.
I was on that stream.
So yeah. So I mean, I did my part. You know what I'm saying? So And the only reason I did that is because she was so used to people kissing her ass and we love you, Karen. We love you. I just had to let her know that everybody don't love her. I just had to let her know, bitch, you ain't Bon Jovi. That's what I'm going to scream next time. All right.
Would it be the least
Hey, wait a minute,
restrictive
Ben.
if
I'll
we
tell
had
you
a
what.
trial
Let him
already
show up
without
on a
incident?
Saturday. Let him show up on a Saturday when there's no court, and they can stand right in front of the friggin' steps and scream all they
I think
want.
they have.
No, they haven't, Vinny. That's the same thing I said, right? Why ain't you out there protesting when Karen Reed ain't there? If it's about the judge and the system, you would be out there protesting all the time, not just when Karen Reed's there. And somebody said, Dolly, you was across the street, not all up on the doors. That is absolutely right. I was standing at a distance from the court when I screamed. I'm just so damn loud that it echoed between the buildings. I mean, I didn't even scream as loud as I could either. Like, because, I did years in that metal band. I can get loud. I mean, I can get really loud. I got some lungs.
This judge has been sued?
They're suing her now.
Karen Reed?
No, Ani Bev, the judge in the Karen Reed trial, is being sued because she placed this buffer zone.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, and she pushed them back 2 blocks.
Well, so what?
That's what I said. So what?
Security zone.
Everybody would anybody
is very passionate about it.
Anybody with common sense said the same thing we just said, Mab. So what? Right? That's what everybody else is thinking, but the people that got pushed back. So they just wanted to be up on the doors and they can't. They wanted to disrupt the courts and they can't. So they losing. Karen Reed's losing. They're scared. Right? They're trying to do what they can do to turn it into a circus. But look, I believe they did this in the first case too when she put the buffer zone in place and they lost, which they'll lose again. Right? You can't disrupt the courts from doing their job. Okay? Justice has to be served one way or another. What if people were out there screaming Karen Reed's guilty? Would it be okay to have a buffer zone then?
Of course.
Then they'd be wanting a buffer zone, right? But since the majority of people are screaming free Karen Reed, they don't want it. But if it was a million people out there screaming Karen Reed's guilty, they wouldn't have no problem with the buffer zone.
Exactly.
They'll get the press. That's fine. I got no problem with that. And you got the press there, and they got their opportunity to get their 20 minutes on the news. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The trial needs to go on without any type of impingement, without any type of influence. It needs to be done right. Put the people at a position, let them say what they want, but don't put it on my front doorstep.
It's not the front doorstep. It's not down the block. It's like down the block and then go down another block. Like
That's right, Betty. It's 2 blocks. 2 blocks. Like, who would have thought 2 blocks would have been the end of the world for these people, right? But
you can still hear them.
You can hear them, just not as good. Just not as good, man. Just not as good. And they're big mad over that shit, right? And they're enforcing it. They've been enforcing it from what I hear. They've already gave Tom CPU a warning. And, if he does it again, they're going to arrest him. So they're enforcing this buffer zone too. Your ass can't just be wearing pink, screaming shit out there.
The new map that I saw takes them further away from where they were. And when the restrictions were set up, everyone followed every rule to the T.
No. Listen, Vinny, honestly, they are almost in the same spot they were the first time. The difference was the first time they were in front of the church. Now they're just behind the church. They didn't move them that far because the majority of them needed to be at that church. So they had room to set up their tailgate and shit, their little tents and shit like that. So, with all the traffic and stuff, they were pushed back there anyway. Right. And the reason they didn't hang at the barrier is because there's a street and that street's pretty busy. So right across the street is the church. So they would hang out at that church in that area over there anyway. The only thing they did technically is push them behind the church because the buffer line ends at the back of the church instead of at the street. So they really only pushed them back
500 feet.
not really even, because they were hanging out in front of the church. Now they're hanging out behind the
100
church.
feet.
100 feet, maybe 150 feet.
Nothing.
You know, way less than a football field. Way less. So it ain't that.
Half a football field.
Yeah, it ain't. Yeah, half a football field at the most.
To the T. And then the trial happens. The jury is split, right? It's a mistrial. So obviously, there was no impact. The juror who came out and gave interviews and I spoke to said, "Yeah, no, we focused on the evidence. We focused on what we saw and heard in the courtroom, just like every other juror that I ever interviewed."
One person. Okay, so that's one out of the 16. Okay, or 12 that deliberated on that. So what's the purpose then? Is it the purpose to have a fair trial for the victim's family and a fair trial for the defendant, or is the purpose to get a bunch of people to be able to stand up and hold up?
You're changing the argument. It's First Amendment argument.
Bullshit.
It's not a First Amendment argument. I'm not stopping them from saying. I'm not stopping them from saying what they want to say. I'm telling you where.
Is it being done in the least
You need a permit.
manner?
You need a permit to do a demonstration in a town. Right. Yes. You can't.
Yes, that is right. The whole permit, you to gather like that many people, and you know, especially if you're going to do it in a public place, you need to have those permits. You know, so
it's got to be bathrooms.
Yep, exactly. Or if not, you'll get people pissing in the bushes. The whole city will smell like piss. Yep. You know, so there's reasons they do. It's safety issues too. Traffic issues
everywhere.
Parking issues. There's a lot of things that these protesters are doing now. The jury got to park 15 blocks from the court because they can't find a parking spot because these people live there. They actually stay there at night. So
you also have to think about the counter protesters too, and they have to have a separate space for them as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then you got to worry about when this trial starts off. Protesters on one side, them fighting with protesters on the other side.
Yeah.
You know, because they don't separate the protesters. It ain't like John O'Keefe's protesters are here and they're there. No, you're all at the beginning of the buffer zone. So maybe one people be on one side of the street and other people, because John O'Keefe's going to have a lot more support this time around. People are already rallying the troops to get John O'Keefe supporters up there so that it ain't just free Karen Reed supporters.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so then you got these idiots and these people that support John O'Keefe, and you don't know how they're going to act. Is there going to be fighting out there, or people going to act stupid? You know,
JLR.
I don't know. JLR is still going at the Karen Reed stuff, and he's also saying he's going to be there for Turtle Boy's trial, and because he got some beef with Turtle Boy. So I don't know. More power to him. Whatever he does.
Strip Turtle from the name Turtle Boy.
Yeah, he ain't a turtle. He's just a boy.
Yeah.
Man boy.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump back into it.
Just march in the streets. Okay? You can't.
They're not marching the streets. They're going to a government building to protest the government.
I have been to more than my share.
They're not protesting the government. They're out there screaming free Karen Reed.
Yeah, they're not protesting the government or the process or anything. They're just screaming free Karen Reed.
Yeah, I know. Vinny knows better.
Of demonstrations. And I can tell you this, that you need to have a permit. And you have to be advised of it because they got to have police protection. They got to have this. They got to have that. So is that a violation of my free speech then? Because I need to get a permit? No, it has been ruled it's not a violation of my free speech. I still get the opportunity to do it. I just do it the right way. That's all. Doesn't mean my message changes. Doesn't mean I say anything different. But I have to follow the rules. The rules say I need to have a permit.
Well, rules. Like rules. Are you talking about rules by elected officials, or are you talking about a rule set by a judge.
I'm talking about laws that are put in place. Okay.
Yeah.
And the law states that, you know,
To protect the integrity of the trial.
Alicia, loving Gen X words, Tanjanista Friday. Thank you, Alicia. We appreciate your support, your passion for Fridays. It's the First Amendment. Jonesy, you go back to the 60s, right? When we were kids, back in the 60s, all those hippies, they were protesting the government, the war. It was important. It has impact. It's part of America, right? We don't like something, we protest. It's happening. But all of a sudden now, this judge doesn't want anyone anywhere near the courthouse and has not proposed any alternatives that would be less restrictive than what she has done. She has increased the restrictions on folks there.
And it's being looked at by another tribunal, and they will make the decision as to whether or not
That's
it's
what I'm
legal.
arguing right now.
Well, you know what? Let me just say,
here's the problem, though.
I'm seeing comments.
Judges protect judges.
I'm seeing
Judges protect
comments.
judges. That's the problem.
I'm seeing comments.
Judges protect judges.
Then he's going off the deep end.
I know he's going hard on the on the whole violation of their constitutional rights, and I just don't see it. I don't see the same argument that he's pushing. I mean, his argument is invalid, and he knows it's invalid. I think he just wants to argue with his buddy on the podcast.
Yeah, I think he's putting on a little show.
Yeah,
He's being very passionate.
I'm here to take away rights. That's such garbage. All right. I'm here to protect the right.
You haven't let Jonesy speak. You took away his First Amendment right today.
Yeah, he ain't said nothing. He's just been sitting there with his shades on like, man.
I questioned his First Amendment right with regards to the Van Halen comment. That's all. And then I was yelled at for being facetious.
I was being facetious in that, like, it is an issue in the courtroom if they can hear it. Depending upon what they say, it can be an issue. So maybe she has to do something, right? And my point when I said, what are they going to do? Like, do what they do at the 7-Elevens, like blast music to drive people away. I wasn't in no way serious about that, but my point is, what are they going to do? It does seem to be an issue. I'm a firm believer in free speech, and I have been all my life since I was a little kid and didn't know any better, and was like a snot nose and didn't really even have a right to have an opinion on things because of the era that we grew up on, because of all the protests that I saw on the news, because of the results of those protests, and or the Smothers Brothers on TV. Saying things that maybe people didn't like. So I'm a big proponent of that, but I can see that there's an issue here. If I'm on a jury and if I can hear them say certain things that might be meant to influence, that's a problem, right?
And Gringa pointing that out, it's because jurors can hear the chants, right? All right. So Jonesy, no vocal chants. We have a quiet zone, but we're allowed to wear our T-shirts and hold our signs. How about that?
I don't have a problem with that.
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with that.
All right, but the judge
would never shut up.
They would never shut up. I
Right.
agree with you, Mav. And
That
Jeff.
wouldn't be able to happen.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to be quiet.
Yeah, they wouldn't shut up for that wouldn't happen. They're out there with bullhorns and shit. They're not shutting up.
Yeah. We'll be quiet. We'll be quiet. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So they're out there
We'll get out there.
broadcasting the court outside, and they're all cheering when something goes Karen Reed's way. So they're not going to be quiet. So
The whole point of it is to make a ruckus.
Yeah, to put on a show.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being done, they're mad that they took away the show. The news cameras are at the courthouses. They're not in the buffer zone. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but that's not what they're not agreeing to that. Did they say? I didn't hear any one of them say, we'll be here quiet. I didn't hear
Okay,
that.
read the papers.
Ben, you're taking away the right of free
You've got to be least restrictive in the way. If the issue is noise, deal with the noise.
You got to take
the
away.
Viewers do not have X-ray specs.
Why you're
But either way, it violates your freedom of speech. If you got to sit out there quietly and not talk, then it's still the same violation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same argument. Like if you can't talk, you're okay with them not being able to talk, but you're not okay with them being able to talk a block away.
He just contradicted his own argument.
I know. I thought the same thing too. I'm like, wait a minute. They can talk a block away, but if we sit a block closer, we can't talk. And you talking about right to protest? Well, you can protest over here, but you can't protest over here. So I don't know. And he knows good and well that they're not going to sit there quietly. That ain't happening.
Yeah.
Why are you condemning them to have to be silent? Okay, isn't that a violation of my First Amendment right?
I like this.
You want to do it in the least restrictive manner.
Shut up. Okay.
You have a quiet zone. You have a zone where you can chant. You have a quiet zone, but in the quiet zone, you're allowed to voice your opinion with signs and
no
with
problem.
T-shirts.
I got no problem with that.
Can either of you name any other protests where people bring lawn chairs? I mean, it doesn't seem like everybody there is there to protest. It seems like some people are there as spectators, and it's
they can't spectate because they can't get in the courtroom because it's too small. There's no public space. That's another problem in the trial, by the way. We're having a public trial in a courtroom where the public can't go.
Well, that's a problem, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds quiet.
I knew he was going to say that. That sounded pretty quiet. That sound quiet to any of y'all?
No.
Okay, that's almost sounds as loud as Rose.
Hey.
Hey, Rose.
Hey, buddy. What helps me sometimes is these shows that you get on. It's like, wow. I got something I'd like to confess to you, Father Jimmy.
Okay.
I'd like to hear it.
Ma'am, don't encourage her, man.
About 3 months ago, I think it was 3 months ago, I hit you up on private messenger, the Facebook messenger.
Uh-huh.
And I said, check your Venmo.
Uh-huh.
And you did. I saw you saw my message, right? And then I wrote back, did you see it? And then I gave you a bunch of emojis because you know what? I didn't send shit.
Okay.
It's horrible, right? It's
It is horrible, Rose. How could you do such a thing? To take a valuable man's time away to do something so childish.
I wanted to make a joke. I wanted to be like, hey, Jimmy, check your Venmo. And then in my head, I was pretending you checked it and there was nothing there. And you're like, and I was like, did you get it? And you didn't respond. So I felt like you didn't get it.
So you did all that trolling and didn't even get a response.
Do you know how many days I laughed and laughed my heart off for days thinking I sent Jimmy a joke, check your Venmo. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
Well, you couldn't afford it.
Yeah, I didn't even look. I probably didn't even read your message, Rose. So the joke's on you.
and you know what? You are right. It might value you once in a while to check my private messenger because I got good rigs. I got good gigs. And, maybe once in a while I'll send you a shekel on your
shackle.
A shekel.
Jimmy in shackles.
Okay, time to mute Rose.
Has he been backstage this whole time?
I let her in every now and then when I feel like letting her breathe a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But if you just let her like run willy nilly, she won't never shut up. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So we wouldn't be able to watch the video because she'd be telling us about an Asian dude she dated in '69.
You know what that Asian dude died of?
Her voice.
Yes.
She done talked that man to death. He probably jumped out the window. She probably had him shackled in the house.
Yeah. I'm just being a honey.
That's outside the front door of the courthouse.
That is totally unacceptable.
Yeah,
Right?
that is just insane.
Yeah, now they're 2 blocks down the road. They're hating it. They are hating it. They're big mad.
Took the juice right out of them, huh?
Took steam right out of locomotive. Right out their locomotive. Do you hear anybody screaming F Bev, the court system's corrupt? None of that.
No.
Look, this woman thinks she's a rock star. She goes, that's when she goes to prison, she ain't gonna be looking like that.
And that's just during jury selection. No, I'm only kidding. This is from the last trial. This is from last year. I'm trying to remember at what point of the case all this was, because this is a much different situation in the front where people are, and they've got, I think they're holding signs at that point. So this must have been afterwards, after the trial. But it gives you an idea of the intensity outside of that courthouse. And obviously, none of this is happening. And Carrie has pointed out, I believe this is accurate. I didn't know what the exact numbers were. Last trial was 200 feet. Now it's 200 yards.
Didn't look like
from
10 feet.
my calculations, Jonesy, but can you check the math? I think that's 3 times as far.
Yes. Yeah, the only thing seems to be missing is Michael Jackson dancing on top of an SUV. Okay, if you want to call it like a protest or whatever, it sure seems like it's become a spectator sport.
Well, people are invested. Well, here's what's going on locally, and there is a deep distrust with some members of law enforcement, and it's based upon several things. One, we saw all the fallout from Trooper Proctor. Then there was another case.
Yes, I'll be going. I'll be there, guys, in the chat room to ask was I'm going to the trial. Yeah, I'm going to be there. Me and PJ will be there this time.
Another local case where a young woman's demise was determined to be self-inflicted initially, and it turns out it was not. And subsequently, the feds had to come in and indict a local police officer for the red rum of this young woman who was carrying allegedly his child, a young woman who had been groomed as a teenager.
That's the Sandra Birchmore chick or whatever her name is. I think. Did I say that right, guys, in the chat? I think it's the Birchmore chick that they're talking about, that the cops killed her when she was pregnant. And that is effed up, but that don't have nothing to do with Karen Reed.
No.
But there's bad cops out there, but I don't think the whole system's corrupt.
No, it's just like people.
Yeah,
cool people.
Sandra Birchmore. I thought I had it right.
And there was a lot of corruption there. So you take that on the heels of all of this, and the level of mistrust has grown. And Massachusetts has a little bit of a history. Al, you may remember a guy named Whitey Bulger, and we had some crooked feds there. We had some crooked cops there, FBI problems. So there's a bit of a history. So that level of mistrust has grown. Now, in this case, obviously, and I don't think anyone would disagree with you that this has this has taken on a life of its own. Like, this has gone beyond anything we've ever seen before. And for a lot of people, it's the first time they've ever been involved in something like this. But when you speak with them, their beliefs are not based upon on facts that they believe. Now, these facts are disputed by the other side, and that's what the trial is about. But their beliefs are based upon certain facts. Some of the facts are indisputably true. Other facts are disputable and will be disputed at trial. But all of that has played into itself and given this case.
If Vinny says factual, if he says factual, I'm going to stop watching. It's factually true. Then we know he's been brainwashed.
Yeah, look at his eyes.
A much different look than any case I've ever covered in all the years at Court TV. My issue today is singularly about my defense of the First Amendment. I am a lawyer and I am a journalist, and I know and I have seen how quickly once
I want to jump
anyone
through this a little bit because I want to get to this.
And where does it end? Like a 13-year-old with a computer who declares himself a reporter. You know, I know it may seem unfair, especially, you know, that I'm on a podcast, to people that listen to podcasts and, you know, are into that kind of thing. But I think it's I mean, it used to be black and white. You work for the Star Ledger. You know, you're a reporter. You have an editor that runs you run things by. You vet things to find out, like, you know.
You wear a hat like this and you get the scoop.
And you have to have the press thing on the side there as well. Except mine always said pool. So I do have you know, I do see a distinction. Now, how do you define? Now, there are, like, I'm sure there are people that, you know, try their best and are legitimate reporters who don't work for, as you say, you know, a major company. But, you know, I wouldn't say a major company. I would say a respected a newspaper, a respected television station, or, you know, I do have an issue with that. I'm more on Al's side on this one.
Because the thing is this, you know, Jonesy, you, me, and Vinny, we're broadcasters. You know, we worked in the industry. Okay, we made our bone.
Okay, look, the Baby Gap leaves a comment. $9.99. The courthouse belongs to the people. Period. Canoni works for the mass taxpayers. She has no constitutional grounds to rob the people of their right to speak and express themselves. Right? Well, he gets shot down terribly here. He gets shot down so bad.
You know, starting out doing, you know, crap stuff and then finally getting on air. Okay, and working from that situation. It's a big difference. And one of the things about being a journalist is accountability. And that's where
Right.
things, that's what you're bringing forward, is that the accountability is really a kind of a key situation here. Anyone can spew off rumors and this, that, the other thing, but they can't.
You're an editorialist, are you not?
Just think about this, guys. If Vinny was out there without his producers fact checking stuff and things like that, would everybody, like, when Vinny says stuff, you take it as credible, right? Because he's with Court TV. You believe him. There's a big difference between that and, like, say, your Bullhorn Betties or your Turtle Boys that think they're media because they printed out a badge on their fucking computer at home, but they never had no college education on journalism or anything like that. So they're just because they have a YouTube channel, then that would make 1 billion people journalists, because there's 1 billion people on YouTube. That makes me media. That makes you media. Jess is media. You know, where do you,
media?
Huh?
Like the heck yeah, media. I'm nosy. I like being in the media.
See what I'm saying? But what level? Like, I get it. You're media, but
they don't have any journalistic background.
Yeah, well, then that's why there needs to be some level to say, hey, I'm a journalist. There should have to be some levels of it. You can't just say you're a doctor because you put a Band-Aid on. You know what I'm
Journalism
saying?
used to be a real thing that mattered.
Yeah,
Today,
that's what
anybody can say it.
that's what I'm trying to get at. That what level do we say, okay, you're a journalist or you're not a journalist? You know, that's where it gets weird, and that's when we get all this fake news and misinformation and things like that, because people are not legitimate, you know, and they'll
Right,
say,
and they have a bias.
yeah.
A lot of them, like the media ecosystem these
Somebody
days.
just said, Pansy Boy is a journalist and a doctor. Yeah, right.
Right.
That dude is a fucking idiot. A doctor idiot.
But see, the thing is this: even an editorialist that writes for the New York Times or works for the Wall Street Journal is, like you said, vetted. Okay. Also, they're looked at. Their pieces are not just strung out there. Okay, from stream of consciousness. They're researched and they're done. And then if there is a mistake in them, they're accountable. Okay. How do you hold somebody who has got these 38 million podcasts and stuff like that accountable? You can't.
Well,
okay?
let's you know, and again,
accountability.
at the
I
end of
always
the
felt the internet was the wild, wild west. So that feeds into my thoughts on that. But go ahead, man.
But accountability is if someone's being defamed, you can sue them for defamation. You can sue someone from a podcast. You can sue someone who tweeted something. You can sue a big corporation
if you can find them. If you can find them.
If you can find them. Well, it's like anything else. But and then on the other hand,
it's not like everything else.
No,
I know where the New York Times is. I know where the Wall Street Journal is. I know where the Star
and they
is.
haven't made major mistakes in reporting,
and they've been sued.
Yeah, they have
made major mistakes and have not been sued, and just say, "Oh yeah, we were wrong," or they just move on.
Most of the time they get sued. Most of the time they get sued.
If they've defamed someone,
and if they don't, and if they do make
a lot of times it's a public figure.
A
lot of times it's difficult.
They do print retractions, and they do print that mistakes. They do that all the time.
On the bottom of page 90 is where the retraction
is. On page 90.
After 15 months of headlines, the retraction is on the bottom of the line.
And on the flip side of that is nobody reads the retractions.
Exactly. The glarer, the courthouse.
But at least there is a process. There is an editor. There is a company to be found and sued.
You can sue an individual.
Yeah.
You can. And the individual, the other thing, you say there's accountability, but then they also have their own lawyers as well who can defend them, right? Whereas, Johnny Tweeter doesn't have like in-house counsel. He's going to have to pay for a lawyer when he gets sued. The glarer, the courthouse belongs to the people, period. Canoni works for the Massachusetts taxpayer. She has no constitutional grounds to rob the people of the right to speak and express themselves.
And she's not doing that. Yeah. She's not doing that. I mean, like, people, wake up.
Okay. This is my favorite part. I seen this earlier when I was at dinner. PJ played it for me. He just goes into how damn dumb Baby Gap is.
Okay. They are not saying you can't protest. They have a time and place restriction. That's all. That's all. I mean, I'm so tired of looking at these comments going, "Oh my God, you're against free speech." I'm totally for free speech. I was at a punk rock band, for God's sakes. Okay, I was at Woodstock, for God's sakes. Okay,
I think you've forgotten your roots.
I protested tons of things.
Al, you've gone corporate. Look at your tie. You've gone corporate.
Because I got to go to a courtroom and require you to wear it.
He now is the man.
No.
Right? He used to fight the man. He is the man.
Yeah,
Gringa has a great point here. Thank you, Gringa.
Thank you,
if
Gringa.
the jurors can't look at media during the trial, they shouldn't be influenced by people chanting for one side or the other.
Exactly.
Like, here's the thing, right? If there's this much concern about the jury being influenced, why aren't they sequestered? Should they?
You know what?
Should they be sequestered?
That's a wonderful question, but that doesn't stop the situation going on from the courthouse. So.
Well,
History has told us, Vinny.
Okay. All right. Well, they're going to be mad. They're going to have to stay mad, is what I think, Mav. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing's going to change. They've done this for a reason, and that
Good
order's
reason.
yeah, and they're enforcing that reasons. So they're going to have to get over the fact that they're 2 blocks away. I mean, they can still have the right to protest. They're still near the court. You know, cars driving by or driving down that road to still see them holding their signs. The area know that they're there for Karen Reed. It's just the jury won't, or
They just
the jury
scream down they just can't be heard by the people sitting inside the courtroom when there's mad people outside screaming.
But the jury still has to drive past them to get to the court. You know, so they're still going to see those free Karen Reed signs. But now they're putting signs up. I seen a billboard the other night up that said, "Let's don't forget John O'Keefe," and it was a John O'Keefe billboard. So, you know, more people got to remember that this lady is accused of killing not just, you know, anybody, but a police officer and drunk. And I don't see how anybody could be out there supporting a lady that was drinking and driving. Right. It seems like all them women, you know, what happened to MAD? Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. Most of these out here are mothers. And they're out here supporting a drunk driver.
It's bizarre.
It's absolutely bizarre. So, I mean, it just blows my mind that the situation we're in is a situation where, you know, these people are supporting somebody that was out there drinking and driving. And they're okay with that because Boston police are corrupt. 2 wrongs don't make a right. You know, any way you add it up, it just don't. So we'll see what happens with Karen Reed in just a few. So what I've been talking about the crazy woman with the razzle dazzle. We done did Karen Reed. We still got Sebastian Rogers, 14 months, man. No little boy.
Damn.
You know, over a year, no clues, no breaks, no sightings of the boy.
Where's he at?
You just pulled a Houdini.
Absolutely Houdini. Better than Houdini. Houdini didn't disappear for that long. David Copperfield ain't never went missing for 14 months. Or David Blaine or Chris Angel. Right? So
you got them all beat.
And so many people believe this boy is still with us. They think he's been hid somewhere out there. I don't think that. I think something tragic's happened to him, either at the hands of, you know, he ran away and something happened, or one of his family members did something. Yeah.
It's always so hard for me as a mother to think that another mother can hurt their own child. So I want to think that maybe she just really didn't want him to go to Seth. So she's got him hid somewhere.
Possibly.
I don't buy that.
I
mean, I don't think Chris wanted anything to do with Sebastian. And I don't think he cared where he went. As long as
he was trying to get Seth to take him for over a year.
The case as well. She don't want to lose Chris. And she don't want to lose her son to Seth. So she puts Sebastian somewhere safe away from everybody and just hides him.
There'd be a money trail, wouldn't there?
Have to be. How would you take care of the kid? You would have to pay somebody to take him if you hit him.
Exactly.
So I don't think
there's evidence other than the emails trying to get him to go to some kind of a facility.
Yeah, and they had started a year and a half ago trying to get Seth to take Sebastian, and he wouldn't take him.
That's why I just don't want to believe that that Katie's done something to him, because
it's hard to believe a mother would, but then you look at Leilani, you look at the girl we just covered a case.
Not a mother. Leilani is not.
And what was the other girl in Kingsport we just covered?
Maddie Soto?
No, I can't think of her name right. Boswell, Megan Boswell.
Oh yeah.
She put her baby in a trash can.
Yeah.
Kids though. And
All
like,
right. So I mean, yeah, mothers hurt their babies all the time. What about that lady that drowned all her kids in the lake and said, you know,
Susan Smith.
yeah, I think that was what it was. She said a black man had carjacked the car and
Drove it in the water.
and she drove it into the water, yeah, and killed her kids. I mean,
It just got denied parole.
and then while I was in Hendersonville, there was that lady that drowned her baby in the lake.
Yeah, and what about the lady who killed all her kids and then jumped out the window?
Yeah, people are crazy. All right, we got speaking of crazy, we got Rose in the back. Hey, Rose.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, good talking to you. It's been so long.
Hey, Mab.
Yeah, hey, sweetie, how you doing?
I'm fine. How's your wife?
She's good. You want to say hi?
Well, I don't know if she knows me.
No, I don't. Say hello.
Hello, Map's wife.
Hey, Miss Mab.
Hello.
Are you well? Are you feeling well?
I'm fine. I'm getting ready for bed. Thank you.
You don't want to be on camera.
Oh, well, I hope I'm not on camera. I'm so ugly, Mab. I think even Jimmy will never ask me to call again. If everyone
I'm
could
up.
see how. But you
There's a
know
lot of
what?
ugly people.
The only people that will want me on their show will be the ones that can look past my Uggs
Wanted him unalive in a place where nobody will ever be able to find him.
and see how beautiful I am from the inside out.
There you go.
You know? And remember, Jimmy, that one day I just was like, and you were laughing because only guys like you, that Lundy, that Oriental guy, he could laugh at any joke. If I said, you're ugly, he just laughed. And, and one night I called in, I was like, you are so ugly. You are so ugly. And then I swagged you around and said, but you got swag, Jimmy. That's what saves your ass.
Yeah, I got a little swag to me, I guess.
Well, that's what
Jimmy
PJ
got soul. Jimmy got soul. I used to work with this black woman, and she walked by me all the time and say, "Jimmy got soul."
I think that's what PJ loves about you so much.
My swag.
Yep,
You
got
got
to have that. I mean,
Rose?
ugly is ugly, but swag is swag. And you know what happened?
She's not on our planet.
Tonight, she's not on our planet, bro. And you know what? I gladly decline. Okay. Your planet is fucked. People talking about this YouTuber and that YouTuber. Jesus, let's find solutions. Let's stop. Whatever. But anyway.
Okay. Now, I think that was a good cutoff point. You know what I'm saying? You should seriously. I'm going to go make some tea. Be right back. Dolly is not ugly, by the way. Thank you, Sylvie. Thank you. We'll get your glasses fixed. You'll be all right. You'll be able to see again. I just know I'm better looking than Mab.
Yeah. Everybody's better.
That's the only thing I'm thankful for. Okay.
Hey, I'm thankful for these new phones with the filters.
Filters. Like speaking of which, it's like what's the lady's name? Melanie Little.
Yeah.
The lawyer lady. Yeah.
Lady.
That lady looks 35 with the filters. When she takes the filters off, she looks 65. Right? Like she has I could not believe it. I thought she was really like in her 30s. And then somebody was like, yo, that is filters. And I was like, no way.
Showing that picture.
Yes. Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this lady looks flawless. And but she uses, I guess, a Snapchat filter or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't have no problem with people doing filters, but why just not own who you are?
Well, here's the thing. Now, let
Looks
me
and
go there.
views.
Okay, see, you see the picture that is up. That is a filter, obviously, because my face is flawless. Okay, I have acne, and So I like to hide my blemishes.
Yeah, I get. I mean, that's why
the
women
only
wear
time
makeup,
I would
right?
use a filter.
Hide
I
the
don't
blemishes.
wear makeup, so I
You
just
can't wear makeup because of the acne?
no, I just don't. I mean, I don't wear makeup. If I do, it's eye makeup. It's just eyeliner and eyeshadow, stuff like that. And I don't put stuff on my face because it breaks out. So why would I
I
want?
mean, but here's the thing: if you're
So I
in
like
your
filters.
60s, if you're in your 60s, right, and you look 35, ain't that a little misleading?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I
Well,
mean, I thought it was a young woman I was watching, and she's an older woman.
I thought she was younger too.
well, see, I don't look my age though. I'm up there, and I know I don't
I
look
mean,
it.
I get it. I don't have no problem with what she's like
Even
as
without
a
the
person. I'm
filter.
thinking, why don't she just own who she is? That's my deal. Like, if I look like a gremlin, right? But I don't like why do that? Like, why portray
I don't
yourself
know, man.
who
I'm
you're
ugly,
not?
but Mrs. Mab thinks I'm handsome. That's all I
There,
care.
there you go.
That's
Exactly.
right. That's right.
Like I just say, be who you are and be proud of who you are. You heard Rose say she was ugly as hell, but she's beautiful on the inside, right?
Exactly.
I mean, why do that? Like, I it. I mean, I understand women want to look pretty. I get that. You know what I'm saying? That's why they made makeup and things like that, is to pretty yourself up. And I don't see nothing wrong with it. Like, if she was an older woman and she put on some makeup, but like her stuff looks like she's in a time warp. I don't get that.
There are some. Have you ever got on Snapchat,
I've never
Dolly?
used Snapchat. I've never
Okay,
even
yeah.
used it.
Oh my gosh. If you got on there and you saw all the filters, you would have a cow. There's filters on there to make you look older.
Uh-huh.
I could go on there and take a picture of myself and show you and me looking like a matey.
Yeah, but
Literally. It's
Why would
it,
you
they're
do
just
that?
filters for why?
I mean, I've took
Why
pictures of
not?
like with my kid, and she uses Snapchat and stuff like that.
Mhm.
We put the antlers on your head or
Yeah.
your tongue sticks out. I mean,
Yep.
I've seen what it does, but I didn't know you could go live like that.
Yep.
So that to me is crazy. It's like, and I wouldn't even have known, but somebody said, her face is flawless. She don't have a wrinkle on her face. And if you look at her neck, you can see the age in her neck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
You got their neck.
yeah, like, you can't hide, everything. You can't hide every flaw. It's, and like, I can understand everyone wanting to look pretty, right? But you look 30 years different. Like, you don't even look like the same lady. You know what I'm saying? That is where it's like, is that the same person? But for each their own. I mean, I it's her channel. She can look like whatever she wants to look like. And what I'm saying is, I just don't understand it.
It's all psychological.
Yeah, unless you're an older woman trying to pick up a 30-year-old dude. You know what I'm saying?
But once he sees you in real life, he's going to run for the hills.
Well, no, I mean, like, all my wrinkles, I've earned these wrinkles. All the bags under my eyes is from late night staying up with you guys. Like,
Yeah.
all my flaws, I've earned them pictures. I worked hard to get them. You know what I'm saying? I want to show them off. I don't get it. I just don't understand it. Nothing against the woman personally.
Looks.
Here, also, I've got stretch marks. I have 3 kids. I don't show them suckers off.
Yeah, but I don't think attractiveness has a lot to do with your looks. I think it has more to do with how you come off, your reality, your soul, who you are, your comedy, your personality.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Right? You could get with a beautiful person, but if you can't hold a conversation with them, how far is it going to go?
No.
Yeah, you've seen these
You know what I'm
beautiful
saying?
women who are about a half an inch deep.
Now, if you get both, then you're really lucky.
Yeah,
Right?
like Mab.
Yeah, like Mrs. Mab. There you go. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you get really lucky if you get the beauty and the beautiful inside with it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. Like I just think you should be proud of who you are. That's my only statement on that. And not
Yeah,
that I hate the woman. If she may be beautiful the way she is. You know what I'm saying?
you look beautiful.
I'm a mess. Like, look at that. Total catfish, right?
I think you look fine.
Yeah, I
Total
mean it's the
catfish.
same person, but it's the middle of the night. I mean, I'm sure I'm sure if you put on some makeup and took that picture again, you'd look probably the same.
You
So I
look
mean, you're
fine.
the same person.
Way better than I do.
I don't know. I just thought it was a little misleading, is all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? A little misleading.
Yeah, like this picture
It is
here.
absolutely. So you just saw total transformation.
Yeah, but that picture was taken as a picture. I know everybody don't look perfect all the time. You know,
My
I
picture's
get
taken
that.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand. That's what I'm saying. When I see the pictures, I thought my whole thing about it was I thought she was probably a 30-year-old woman. I didn't know she was somebody my age. You know, I was like, oh, look at this young legal professional. And I didn't realize, she's probably older than I am. I would have had no clue. I didn't even know filters could do that. I didn't even know that they really did that. I didn't know you could do it live. I mean, I knew you could take a picture and make yourself, I can go into Photoshop and make it where I don't have a wrinkle on my face. And, like I got blemishes. I got a big ass zit forming on my nose right here, right in the corner right there.
I know, me too. That's why I'm hiding my face.
Right. It's hot and I'm
But
sweaty. So my face is starting to break out a little bit. And
everybody in the comment section's got me blushing though. So
And all that
thank
medicine
you
I've been
guys.
taking since I had that heart attack, it don't help my face.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it ain't helping none. As far as my face breaking out and my skin being dry. So I mean,
Need to
I
come
don't
up with a
know.
product for that, Dolly.
I just think people should own who they are. It's one of those things. I don't want people to think I'm picking on the lady because I'm not. Because at her age, hey, at a certain point, you can be beautiful at that age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying the point I want to make is, ladies, you don't need all that. Be proud of who you are. If you have a little zit in your face, nobody's perfect. Just like she came up and showed herself. But see, here's the thing: you wasn't scared to show your real self.
No, not.
You know what I'm saying? And you were honest. You were like, "Hey, this is me with a filter on.
That's what
This
makes you
is me at
beautiful.
3:00 in the morning at my worst." So we got to see your best, and maybe not even your worst. You probably 9:00 in the morning when you wake up with drool hanging off your face, and
Head to Starbucks to get my coffee. They're the ones that see me at my worst.
yeah, exactly. So,
I've always liked women without makeup. I mean,
I think my message ain't so much to pick on the woman; it's just be proud of who you are, love yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying for you, and
Well, I'm working on that too. Like I said, I'm going through a divorce, so I've been working on myself a lot.
somebody said, "Oh, I hate nose zits." I'm sorry, Folly. Yeah, I got one right in the corner of my nose right there. That's the thing been getting me today. I'm like, I don't want to mess with it, but it's kind of calling me. You know what I'm saying?
pop that bitch.
So
Be healthy and take care of yourself is the key, but that's not always very easy.
Yeah, I know. I guess some people have a lot of problems with especially women loving themselves or not thinking they're okay because they think everything, like, people are not paying you that much attention. You know what I'm saying? To think like you got to be perfect all the time or something. I think a lot of I got to do this. I got to look this. I don't want nobody to see me like this. Like, men don't think like that. That's just totally in women's mind. Because I do to get up and just be like, wipe the slobber off your face, don't brush it, and just go. You know what I'm saying? Don't
Yeah,
give
we don't
2
care.
damns. Don't give 2 damns. When you start getting all pretty as a man, we start to think you sus. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, we're like, you took how long to get ready? You get 5 minutes. Shit, shower, shave, hit the door. Right? You ain't none of that, women
Crimping and shit.
yeah, you got 3 hours if you lucky before y'all can even come out the bathroom.
No,
So,
not all women.
I mean, I'm saying a good majority. maybe not all women, but a good majority. So
I can be in and out, ready to go in 25 minutes.
25 minutes.
That's
Yeah.
fast.
Now I want to touch that zit I talked about. I shouldn't even said no. Now I want to mess with it. Now I want to mess with it. But I'm gonna get me a Snapchat filter, and when I come up here tomorrow, I'm gonna be 25, hot, ready to roll. Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't gonna be able to handle it.
Well,
It's
you
gonna
put
go
that YouTube filter on the lives that makes you look about 5 years younger.
Yeah, it'll take a little bit of the blemishes away from you. You know what I'm saying? But then it'll make you blurry. So, you
I
know
don't
what? Then you look like you're fucking blur. Like my vision's bad when I see people with the filters way up on the like T-Rev used to do it, and he looked blurry. Or it could have just been his camera. I don't know, but the fucking dude looked blurry to me. I don't. So
Mr. DoorDash.
Mr. DoorDash, yeah.
Tornado DoorDasher.
So you know what? Somebody said something to me about that today. Like he was DoorDashing while chasing tornado. Which one is it? Was you just out in a tornado DoorDashing, or was you chasing
That's
tornadoes?
exactly what he was doing.
He was DoorDashing in a tornado.
Dude, he's a mess. Oh my god, it's a train wreck. You just can't turn away and not look.
I should have bought his PlayStation. I don't need a
The
PlayStation.
T-Rev from a year and a half ago who had a channel and was going pretty good. It's just totally
Yeah, but that when you build a house on fraud,
on sand.
Yeah, it's going to eventually come crumbling down, and
Yeah,
it's that whole the same message we were just talking about. Be who you really are. You just be who you are.
they're afraid that if they're who they really are, that nobody's going to like them.
But you know what? If you be who you are, more people may like you.
They will.
Like, look at me. I'm a goofy redneck. You know what I'm saying? It don't get no worse than that. You know what I'm saying? It don't even get no worse than that. That's the bottom of the fucking barrel right there. And I got all kind of people that enjoy what I do and respect me, and I don't know why, but they do, and I'm thankful for it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because you're real. That's all.
Yeah, you're real.
Like but so many people put on good shows up here, like they should have moved to Hollywood.
I've seen some YouTube channels that I've been following for years, and the reason they got their subs and their views was because they were real. But once they got over 500,000, hit 1 million, their shit changed. It all became polished, and you had all this music, and I stopped watching them because they left who they were.
Yeah, when you become a TV show, it's hard for me to watch you.
Yeah, I can't do
it. When I feel like you're relatable to me, I'll watch you. But when you feel like when you get too good and there's all these snapshots and there's different fucking camera angles, I feel like I'm watching a TV show at that point. I'm not watching a dude that I can relate to. That's me. Now I don't know how other people think, but if it's too fancy, I'm a little standoffish. I even heard Mr. B say something like this, that he didn't want his stuff to appear too TV-ish. He wanted to come off as it's a YouTube video. Even to now, that he wants that YouTube vibe and that look, that if it's too edited, too jump cut screen, then it becomes like a show, and people really like the one-on-one and not the show aspect. And I'm kind of like that. I understood exactly what he was saying. I was thinking, yeah, I'm kind of like that. If it's too TV-ish, I don't watch it. Like, I watch people on YouTube to relate to them, kind of. And
you know a guy named Cletus McFarlane? No.
But like when I hear somebody's opinion on something, I want it from a regular dude, just a random ass regular dude. Huh?
Why does McFarlane sound familiar?
Cletus McFarlane owns a racetrack in Florida. He's a big YouTuber. He's got a couple, 2.5 million followers. He just had the Freedom 500 tonight on his live stream. He's a race car driver. He does drag racing, stuff like that. But he's a real dude, and that's how he got all of his wealth, and he hasn't changed.
Oh, nice.
Still just goofs around with his crew, and they pick on each other. They just cut it up like they've always done. And he has the money to make it fake.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you enjoy what you're doing, that's the best shit ever, right? Especially if you can survive off doing what you love to do and have fun doing it.
Yep.
Like, that is the dream right there.
These guys are having a ball doing what they're doing.
Yeah, and probably making a killing doing it too.
Oh yeah.
You know, and when it's real, it takes no effort, right? It takes no effort. Because I remember when in the beginning, and people thought that I played a character up here, that I was just kidding, and they didn't think I'm really who I am up here. And I'm thinking, well, damn, if I'm a character, this is going to be an easy gig because this is who I am.
Right? You talk all professional and stuff.
I mean, I could easily, with my skills editing and doing what I do, I could polish everything I do. I could, and just put out videos and make it all nice and fancy and shit. But I don't really dig that. I like the realness of the live streaming.
I can say I watch one fancy one, and that's 10 to Life. I love Annie.
Yeah, she does a good job. She does a really good job.
Yeah. Yes, she's the only real fancy-ish one I watch. The way I found you, Dolly, you were cussing up a storm at the Cajun Navy.
Is that how you found me?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were horrible.
Very long ago. It was like last year.
Yeah, they were horrible.
Yes, and I was so mad that they had done that to you, and so I went to I had to like find your page and everything because I can't remember who showed it. It was, but that's how I found you. And
I found Dolly when I was laying.
I was like, that's my type of show.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when it's real, it's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I like to see too. Is like, you know how you see reality TV, but it's scripted. I think YouTube is real reality TV for some people. Like, it ain't nothing scripted. It ain't nobody wrote nothing. It's turn on a camera and go. You know, and reality TV, I thought, started real, and then it slowly became more and more scripted and scripted and scripted. But YouTube is unfiltered, unscripted. You get a lot of realness, and that it's slowly, as people like Mab said, as they get bigger and bigger, they start to get super professional, and then it's not real anymore. I like the realness of YouTube. I think that's why so many people watch YouTube. It's one of the biggest sources of media on the planet right now. It's because
anything you want.
I don't watch the actual news anymore.
Well, it's all bullshit anyway.
Yeah, right. I didn't know the news could lie to you. I never knew that. To just like maybe 10 years ago, I learned that the news could lie to you. That the CIA controlled narratives that went out on the news and things like that. I didn't know that. I truly didn't. I thought if a big news source said it, that it was true. I didn't know they could just blatantly come up and lie to you. Like, the whole fake news era thing is, I was like, damn, all these people I listened to all these years, how do I know they wasn't lying to me?
They were.
And like I said about Vinny earlier, I was like, when you're at the highest level, you expect those people to be telling the truth, and not bias. And even at his level, you see he's a little biased, not that not on everything, but on some things, I think, so you're supposed to be neutral and you're supposed to be telling the facts and the truth, but we live in a day and age now where that ain't happening. And the news is a bunch of bullshit. It's about ratings and views. And so many people have turned to alternate sources of media for their news, because so many people are lying and you don't know who to believe.
Yeah.
So, but look, guys, I'm going to get ready to when Miss Mab hit the bed. I think that's time for me to hit the bed too. Yeah. Okay. So,
me too.
We're on Miss Mab's schedule here. So I'm going to get ready to get out here. Thank you, Jess, for coming up. Mab, it was good seeing you. I haven't did this in a while. And Rose, thank you for coming up, Rose.
Last one we did was the UFO one.
Yes. So I may try to, squeeze in one of these a week or something like that, like
Be
the
cool.
old days. We used to do streams every night, panels. So I'm gonna try to bring them back a little bit. Not as many people trying to come up here because we haven't done them in a while. But listen, guys, if I do an open panel, don't be scared. Come up and show y'all's beautiful faces. Okay.
Yeah, I was nervous, but I said screw it.
Yeah. And thank you for
You're a
coming up, Jess.
beautiful woman, Jess.
And Dolly is an Ohio State hater too. So
I'm not an Ohio State hater.
anytime you hear Ohio, you're like, God, Ohio.
No, I always say OH. And matter of fact, I was in where was it? Columbus, Ohio, doing the Ohio State championship football game.
Oh, nice.
Way
For the
back in the day.
championship in
Yeah.
Columbus?
Well, yeah, it was in was it Columbus?
No.
Buckeyes or something.
I thought it was Columbus, Ohio.
Well, I
Maybe-
mean, the Buckeyes are, but the championship game wasn't in Columbus.
No, this was years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was there, and the game was a championship game, and I was there, and I didn't know nothing about it, and I was in this bar, and the lady told me, she said, well, if somebody screams out OH, you scream back I-O, and I was like, what the hell is that? She's like, Ohio, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now, right? But when she was just like, you scream back I-O, and I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And she said that way everybody knows you're here for the Ohio and you're not with the opposing team because that way they don't beat you up. That's what she told me in the bar. So I always remember that. So I'm not an Ohio hater. I have I got some people in Ohio. All right, Jess, you be good, man. Y'all be good.
Dude, thank you guys. Bye, everybody.
All right, peace.
Bye, beautiful.
All right, guys. With that said, it's time for Dolly to go. I got to go hit that pillow, right? Do a little drooling, a little UFO watching, because I always watch UFO stuff when I go to bed. I don't know why it gives me the weirdest fucking dreams, but I don't know. Maybe I like it. I don't know. But I always play some UFO, ancient aliens, or so. It bores me to sleep, I think. So I'm going to get ready to get out of here. I will see you guys. I don't know if I'll see them. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. I probably will. Depends what we got going on. Been super busy, but just remember, if you made it this far, Dolly loves you guys. Thanks for being here with me. You guys are all important to the show. Make sure you like the videos. Check out the merch store. It keeps my lights on, keeps food in the refrigerator. Okay. We got new tumblers, new shirts, new soaps, lotions, body wash. Anyway, if Dolly store don't got it, they don't make it. Okay. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.